If you stay, can you get the TV working?
Yeah, we usually we like to put on like a horror movie or something like in the background.
Yeah, like Jason Goes to Hell, a classic.
Yeah. Like something really, really good, high quality.
Watching you fumble and fuck around with this is, watching you learn how to do this is amazing.
Wait, they're not even gonna have to talk to me by the time you're done.
Yeah,
like you know what? We're gonna switch gears here, Carissa. We'd love
you
that.
got it.
So it's bright.
There you go.
It's okay.
I can't wait for them to have it at work.
We have another guest with us today, which is basically kind of like my new favorite thing that we do. Have people come on and
Well, we were just kind of fucking around talking about it. I don't know. We kind of got lucky here the last couple of weeks where all the people that we've been kind of talking about maybe coming on and talking about stuff are all saying yes kind of simultaneously. And I know that this one in particular we've been actually kind of talking about for a couple of weeks, and it just kind of worked out, thank God. But I don't know. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And now we kind of get to pick the ones we want to do, and I think you'll know very quickly into this and in the middle of it, at the end of it, is why we were pretty excited and definitely wanted to do this one next.
Yeah, so we're still give you a minute and let you introduce yourself. Just a couple things. Guiltlessnetwork.com. We work today to flesh out when a couple of the new shows are coming. So I don't want to give any dates on what's the only one's Thunder, but I think
May 5th.
What?
No, I made that.
I Still Like You is coming really soon. I know we're getting a lot of people excited about that one. The Equal Fights, mid-May.
Me and Andrea just determined when we're going to record our first one for Equal Fights, too.
So
that's good.
That's coming, too. So guiltlessnetwork.com if you want to check out what's coming out. And
something else, too, and just because Patrick's told me this today. So with the network, the network has to do with just different podcasts. He and I most likely will primarily be on this one, Equal Fights, maybe sporadically on other ones, but we're looking for other people that have not only ideas for podcasts, obviously, which actually we're entertaining some of those discussions now where someone's going to say, hey, I have an idea for a podcast, and we'll just kind of see if we just want to put it on the network. The good thing about it, we have equipment, we have a studio, we have everything right there, so it'd be kind of a seamless transition. All you would need are guests or topics or whatever you want to have. The second part of that is we're still kind of looking for guests for the FUC podcast. Host. Yeah. I mean, that's not going to be Patrick and I.
Right.
That's going to be brand new, separate from us, but I think it'll be really, really good, really, really fun. It's fucked up Cleveland stuff. So looking for someone that wants to do that. So we actually have talked to a couple people. Some of them haven't really panned out, but it's not just openings for that existing podcast, but and that's also not just something that you're going to be on your own. When you're part of the network, we're going to throw ideas at you as well. It's not just going to be, okay, well, you're on your own now. You're part of the network. So we do that now with Dan on the
Flirting with Wall Change.
The Flirting with Wall Change, and then currently Flirting with Wall Change, and then the Equal Fight stuff with Andrea, obviously the Guiltless podcast, the I Still Like You stuff. We throw ideas out to give each other more content, so that's kind of a benefit of it too.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. That's what the purpose of the network is to increase the amount of podcasts, because we really enjoy doing it. We just kind of discovered other ones that we'd like to at least hear, even if Patrick aren't the ones that are actually going to do them.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. And then. Please make sure if you do listen to us, whatever platform you listen to us on, anything from iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, it makes no difference. If you could please make sure that you, at minimum, rate what you think we're doing. We'd appreciate it. We had a couple ratings recently, and we don't care about ratings. Meaning, like if we're a 1, we're a fucking 1. I mean, we've said that dozens of times.
Yeah,
but we got 2 joke ratings, which kind of pisses me off. Because, I mean, they're clearly jokes.
It is. And it's also, I don't know, it's from the live show, people that joked around from the live show. And it is, I don't know, it kind of is what it is.
But it's the first thing people see. That kind of sucks.
It is.
Like,
but it's okay because
Brad's not on the fucking show.
He's also not from Sweden, you fucking liar.
Liar. Fucking cocksucker.
Yeah, bitch. So, but the good news is that very soon after this, we're going to have another review right on top of that from our current host, because that's becoming a requirement now.
Yeah.
Subscribe, rate, review. So that does help us, so we would appreciate it.
So here we are with our guest today. Pretty stoked to talk to you. You want to introduce yourself to everybody?
I'm Josh, tattoo artist, Strongsville.
Yeah.
Looking forward to doing this with you guys.
We're so you tattoo at All Tattoos.
All tattoos in Strongsville.
And how long you been there now?
I've been there 3 years. I've been doing this for 12.
12 years.
Yes.
On average, like how long people? I was like, you asking for money?
I'll pay you.
What?
Whatever.
all right, so what
beer
actually
was
happened
free.
was, and it's funny because normally it's people telling me to do this.
Right, yeah.
So I was just signaling Josh, come a little bit closer to
Yeah.
the mic. But I mean, we take donations. So we are not a non-profit podcast.
You guys pay me. I don't pay you.
No,
how this works.
That's
Well,
true.
especially lately, I think, man, I don't know how much money Patrick's given you lately.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
A lot.
Now, you've done my last 5 tattoos.
Yes.
Good work, too. We were just talking about
Yeah.
them.
And we'll actually get into that. But so you've been tattooing for
12 years.
12 years.
Yes.
And how long before you're like, the first time you do it on a paying customer, you're kind of like, I'm fucking nervous as fuck.
Every time.
Still?
Still.
Really?
12 years in, I get nervous. I mean, you and I had that conversation the other day when I walked
Yeah.
out of the room on you. It was nerve-wracking.
So we're in
It's
the
I can
room.
see that. That is, I mean, the last one that you just did with Patrick is so detailed. It's, I can see that being nervous. Other ones are like quick ones. I guess it's kind of, it's funny that you're still nervous. That I can understand being nervous. I was nervous to see it.
and you see it,
It's so detailed.
what your wife has that I've done, the small Brooklyn
Yeah.
Bridge, is actually harder to tattoo than what I did on him.
Because of how close the lines
Because of
are.
how
And,
small everything is.
Yeah.
okay.
It's,
So you said you started 12 years ago. So what? I guess
Yes.
what was the turning point where you're like, I want to be a tattoo artist?
I was in college, hated what I was going to school for, stressed out at midterms, walked into a tattoo shop, got my first tattoo, and left there stress-free. And thought
Really?
maybe I can do that for someone else.
right.
And
So
I've
you-
always loved art, so it was,
So what? So you're in college. You're clearly an artist,
Yes.
right? I mean, because I've seen your work. I've seen
Oh,
you do stuff. You don't
thank
just you don't just practice and get that good. You have an innate talent.
No, I think that's I don't know if a lot of people even realize that. I actually didn't realize that until I went to him for my first one. It was, and Patrick said, he's a really, really good artist too. When you brought out the design, I was like, oh shit. Like, cause I mean, I don't think a lot of people, they're like, hey, I want something like this. And a lot of them are like, oh, okay, I'm just going to start messing with your arm and see what happens. Like there's a lot of work that goes into setting up a tattoo, especially a larger one.
yes, huge amount of work. I pride myself on being good at what I do, but it's stressful. It's nerve-wracking.
We'll actually get into some of the reasons why that would be. We kind of talked
Yes.
about some of them, and I was like, okay, stop the story because I want to record this.
Yeah.
And it's just hilarious to me. We did a podcast, God, month and a half ago. All on, it was 30 really bad tattoos, and we pulled them up here on screen. And the point of the podcast is like, describe what you're seeing. And some are so atrocious that you can't help but laugh. You're just like, what was the person thinking when they're like, I want that?
Most of them look like home tattoos.
They're terrible.
They were really, really bad. And I know we're gonna get into a lot of the things that were bad about it. It wasn't even just the obvious things that are bad about certain tattoos, the misspellings, which are amazing to me.
We'll get into that.
The ones that were literally look like that you just gave like a tattoo needle to a 9-year-old,
Right,
and then
yeah.
gave it like a few beers. Like
Yeah.
they're just so bad, and it's I don't know. I wish those were kind of dated so we can actually look at when they actually occurred, because again, just the way that tattoos are done now, it's amazing that still happens, but it does. I mean, like, so when I think about like professions, one of the things that my dad always said, and this is actually leading to a question for you, is my dad was an attorney for 48 years, and he said to me before, he's like, there are so many bad attorneys out there. So question for you is, in your experience, tattoo artists, What's that like, ratio-wise? Your experience, obviously.
It's about a 90-10 ratio.
Yeah.
90 of them are really bad.
Real okay. No, I'm not terribly surprised to hear
The other
that.
10% are, well, you got about 9% that are really good, and then you have that other 1% that is just untouchable.
90% are bad.
Oh, yeah. 90% of tattooers, people don't even know we're tattoo artists. They're sitting in a basement with a needle.
Gotcha.
And those guys then try to walk into tattoo studios and get jobs. And
Yeah.
they get given jobs. And, I mean, if you look in Cleveland alone, there's 80-something shops.
I think 3 just
Around the
popped up in
area?
Lakewood in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Easily
So,
3, I think.
You know, you can't tell me that you have 5 to 7 artists per shop. Every one of these guys are going to be
See,
phenomenal.
that statistic surprises me because I'm surprised that anybody can get a job doing that without walking in and having a portfolio of either work they've done or art they've done and been able to prove that, like, hey, I've been able to translate this skill. I can draw really well. I can paint really well. But I've been able to translate this skill into tattooing. I realize they're completely different mediums, right?
Yes, completely.
So it shocks me that anybody who is a shop owner would be like, you know what, come on in. I'm going to give you a studio.
It is shocking, but it's part of the industry that the industry is not organized well.
Okay.
So there's nothing that goes into it. These guys walk in out of their basement and say, hey, I drew this rose on a piece of paper. And they're like, hey, here's a chair.
Oh boy.
You know?
Ooh, fuck that.
You have to be really careful with who you sit down in a chair for.
So
It's
how do you like all the, because there are going to be a lot of people listening to this. Not everybody has ever had a tattoo, or maybe somebody's gone to one of the 90%ers. What would you say to them? Like, hey, here's what when you go into a place, here's what you want to ask.
Yeah, like what should you,
Yeah.
what if there's 4 questions or 5 questions you should ask, what should you ask?
How long they've been doing it, portfolio of work, what style they tattoo in.
Okay.
Can we actually, can we talk a little bit more about that style?
Yeah.
So how do you mean by
Okay,
style?
style, you have American traditional, you have realism, you have new school. New school is really cartoony. American traditional is basic bold lines, bright color. Generally about a 5 to 6 color palette, that's it. Then you have a comic style, which is most of what Patrick's work is, which is thin lines, a lot of color. Then you have neo-traditional, which is kind of a mix between that cartoony and American traditional style. And obviously realism kind of explains itself. It's photographic realism in tattooing. Then you have guys that specialize in color or black and gray. You don't find many that do both.
Okay.
So knowing what they specialize in is a huge part towards getting the tattoo you want.
And I don't have many tattoos. I have 10. Like, and I consider like people with many tattoos like, you know, like I have 20 some tattoos. I really do consider, like, you see so many people with full sleeves and huge pieces of work. That's a lot of tattooing to me.
I respectfully disagree. I think 10's a lot. I think I know more people with not 10 tattoos than I do with people with 10. So the people with the most tattoos that I know are both in this room right now.
Okay.
You and Roscoe.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's actually a Cocker Spaniel. That's all a tattoo. Yeah, our tattoo artist, he's an impressionist, mainly, you know.
Where I'm going with that is you just blew my mind. Like, I didn't even know, I would have never, ever, ever thought about, like, I know not to walk into a tattoo place and go, and look at the wall and go, I want that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I know that.
Yes.
But to know that there are that many different techniques and that there are a lot of artists who probably aren't skilled in maybe a handful of those.
I didn't know that there were that many kind of like styles. Like, I thought there would be people that would maybe be better at certain types for sure. But I mean, I don't know. Would you name like 5 or 6 different types right there?
Easy.
Oh yeah, and that's not even touching. That's like scratching the
Yeah.
surface. You know, there's so many different styles of tattooing. It's not funny, and you know, my specialty is anything with color. That's what I do.
Okay.
I can do black and gray well. But me personally, I do color. Neither one of you guys actually asked to see my portfolio, which was
I know.
So okay, and I blame Patrick for that. I really do. Because
Patrick had a good
even
tattoo
though apparently Patrick does not have a lot of tattoos, I immediately went to him like, "Where do you go?" He's like, "This." For me, I'm like, "That's good enough for me." Plus, I've seen this, like the one that he, I don't know what
The
you
pinup?
The original.
the pinup.
Yeah.
When he came back with the pinup, I was so impressed with that, and he was like, "Yeah, Josh did my pinup." I was like, "Oh, well, that's good enough for me," because I wouldn't have known where to go, and I certainly would have known what questions to ask. I kind of saw this the same way as that I would see if I was, getting my roof done. I talk to people who have actually gone through it and have a guy, quote unquote.
Yes.
And that's with Patrick having so few tattoos. I figured that's the person that I should go to, and that's how he got me to you.
So it's funny because I mean, I guess I just fucking lucked out because I walked into that place. I had never had a tattoo with color. All my tattoos were black. And I walked in, and I don't remember who was agreed to me. It was that guy who played, who's that drummer?
Scott.
Okay.
Yes.
So he greeted me, and I said, "Hey, I have an idea for a tattoo. Who's the best artist that you guys have?" And he's like, "Oh, Josh." Josh!
That's generally what happens.
Yeah. So I guess I just fucking lucked out because it's phenomenal work, and I know
Thank you.
it's easy to say that because you're here, but I tell everybody that all the time. I mean,
No, yeah, I agree. And honestly, we should, because we haven't done it before. I think this episode's the best time to do it. Is we got to post a lot of the stuff that you've done, specifically on Patrick. They're so impressive. I mean, there are the pinup, the lagoon. I mean, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the frame. They're so unbelievably impressive. Like I didn't even know that stuff like that was really possible. I know you could, but not in the sense that he has. I mean, not in the detail and the color that actually comes with it.
Yeah.
That's the most impressive thing to me is that it can come out so good, looking like. Actually, my favorite one of his is the Nosferatu.
Thank you.
That I love that one to death.
That is my favorite.
I love that one. I think it's so because I love the Nosferatu images. I love like kind of like the old school vampiric kind of thing. I've always been kind of into that. But I love the image.
Yes.
The image itself, because it reminds me of the old movie posters. Anytime you've ever looked at anything Nosferatu, when anyone's talking about like old horror flicks, that one always comes up, and that's why I loved it so much. Because the image on the stairs, it's so graphic and visceral. I love it so much. I was so impressed when you came back and showed that to me.
Thank you. I think it's my favorite one because it was the first one we've done in that style, and everything just flowed really easily. He was so cooperative in the way I wanted to tattoo it, and it turned out beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's not because I did it. Anyone who would have done that tattoo, I would say the same thing about. It's
it's
extremely nice.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, it really, really is.
Yeah, just Thursday of last week, somebody I work with stopped me, and she's like, "I cringe every time I see that tattoo and the placement of it because that must have hurt like a bitch."
Oh yeah, right there. Fuck yeah.
Well, Josh taught me what the ditch was.
Yes.
You want to tell people what the ditch is?
The ditch is the soft tissue area of your arm where your elbow folds. So not the elbow itself, but the front side where they would draw blood from your veins. And it's one of the most tender areas to get tattooed. And Patrick wanted this placed so that it actually wraps around the inside of the elbow. So he just got everything at one time. And he took it like a champ.
It's funny because the reverse of that, there's no nerves on the back.
No,
this back
zero.
There's no nerves. You can stick a pen in there. There's nothing there at all.
Yeah.
You can't feel anything. You can pinch it all you want. There's nothing there. But the other side of that seems tender.
Yeah,
Extremely.
and it hurt. Like, and that's the thing about like tattooing is like you get everybody's like fucking hurt. Tattoos don't. No, tattoos hurt.
They all
Like,
hurt.
Like I don't like the tattoos I have that are all black where there was like no line work. They're not bad because they're. Well, you fucking know. I'm probably speaking like you're like,
Yeah.
Shut up, you idiot. they're wider needles or whatever.
Yes.
And so that's got to make a difference, I'm assuming.
When it comes to tattoos like you have that are just done with shading, not a lot of line work, that's the easiest thing in the world. To me, line work is a much more concentrated pain because it's a tiny, tiny needle that's just
Sure.
ripping your skin open compared to the mag that's just like, here's a nice massage.
Right.
You know?
I remember.
It's completely different.
I remember before going there, the way so you described it as, you're like, it's kind of like a bad sunburn. I'm like, I have bad sunburns every summer, no big deal. I mentioned that to Josh before I sat down for my first of, I think, 5 hours.
Yes.
And he's like, yeah, when it's done. When it's done, it feels like a bad sunburn. I'm going to be jabbing you with a needle for 5 fucking hours, though. It is still a needle. And for the most part, I didn't think it was that bad, but similar to that, like when you're up on like the shoulder blade, the back of the arm, which a lot of where mine is,
Yes.
you could tell, like, you know, and I had a lot of pride because I didn't want to show it. You know? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, once you get to certain spots, I think, honestly, I think the top of the blade was probably the worst.
I think you
one.
may have teared up a little bit when we got to like the humerus there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
it was
like, you know, my shoulder kept getting lower. And he's like, understand, dude, but you got to fucking stay still. I think it's once you got right on top of the bone of the shoulder blade. That was probably that's the one that I remember the most.
Yes.
Well, because there's very little skin or fat or anything between the top and that bone. Is that needle's got to be bouncing.
It's so many nerve endings.
Oh,
yeah.
So many nerve endings right there.
So
it's
how
crazy. It's
actually,
painful.
I'm glad you brought that up. Like, what do you know anatomically before you start tattooing, or is this all shit you learn when you start tattooing?
For me, personally, I was actually in school for medicine prior to tattooing. Is what I was going to college for.
Okay.
So I know quite a bit about anatomy.
Okay.
But the average tattoo artist, not much. You kind of learn as you go.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid growing up, you scrape your knee, it sucks.
Yeah.
Scrape your elbow, it's painful. Obviously, those areas are a little more painful to tattoo.
Sure.
But we don't really know
Right.
until we're needle deep and
Until you're kind of in it.
Kelsey's ribs and she's crying. You know,
Fucking Kelsey.
whoever Kelsey may be, you know.
I'm sure there's been plenty of Kelseys. that
There's been
crossed
a
your
lot of
path.
Kelseys.
This is going to look so adorable.
That's the thing. Like, this podcast, my favorite part of this podcast is when we start to get into that shit. Like,
Yes.
just the silly things or the weird things or the unfortunate or uncomfortable things that you've seen, you've experienced. That
There's a lot.
yeah, we'll get it, and we'll get into
yeah,
all that stuff
we
because
have-
that's gonna be fucking fun.
Because we're going to ask you a question. It's gonna make me think of 4 more.
Yeah, right.
It is.
That works.
Where the fuck were? So anatomy. So
Yes.
how do I want? I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase this. Like, obviously, you don't have to go to school and they say, well, the muscle goes this direction, so you should tattoo in this direction. I mean, how much do you know about, like? All right, I'm going to take a step back, or I'm confusing everybody and they hate me right now. But when you did my Creature of the Black Lagoon, you were giving me this talk about, like, how your pores start to stop taking in ink at a certain
Yes.
point. Like, so how do you learn all that?
You can kind of years of processing information as you tattoo. Because when I first started this, I was laying in solid black tattoos and would wipe away and be like, I know I covered this area. 5 hours into it, the skin's a quarter of an inch taller than it was to begin with, and I'm not thinking about the swelling and the pores are starting to constrict themselves. And the years of processing, you kind of learn that once you go over an area so much, especially somewhere like the ditch where your creature tattoo is, after a while, it's a tender skin, it's going to swell, it's going to stop. You know, it's not just your skin's going to give up before you do.
So how do you as an artist perceive that? Like, at what point do you go, it's just not going to take any ink and this is done? And have you ever had to call it quits during a tattoo?
I have had to call it quits during a tattoo, and generally it's about the time that if I spend 10 minutes working in an area, wipe off, and there's only 5 minutes worth of work done, small amount of ink compared to what I've actually done, you're bleeding more. The tissue just starts to kind of look like hamburger meat. And you know it's time to stop.
Everybody who's listening, who's never gotten a tattattoo, they're done.
They're never getting a tattoo.
never gonna get one.
This was a bad idea.
Yeah, there went that dolphin on the ankle. That's done. Oh, you just lost an entire sorority, Josh. That was going to get the same tattoo.
Kelsey is never coming
Kelsey's
back.
no longer coming in. Neither's Amber or Bethany.
So, do you think those less skilled tattoo artists understand that and compensate? No? Jesus Christ, it's a torture chamber then for the
I have seen tattoos come in that are, say your black tattoo, for instance, the one on your wrist. People can't see it, but, I've seen people come in, there's a little bit of outline there, and everything on the inside is just this bright pink beaten hunk of flesh. Because they didn't know better. Because they didn't understand that. I fix a lot of these. They didn't understand that it was time to stop, so they just grind away until someone's completely scarred up. It's a horrible situation to be in.
But there's got to be times
Happens
where
a
it's
lot.
there's just nothing that can be done because the area is so beaten up. I mean,
I've never seen a tattoo I couldn't fix or cover up.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yes.
I love that. See, this is why you got to go to Josh at All Tattoos. This is what I'm talking about. And so we work with a girl, and I remember she got a giraffe holding a balloon in its mouth. It's actually kind of cool.
Okay.
She came up to me. She's like, hey, does this look normal to you? It was the biggest scab I've ever seen on a tattoo in my life. I was blown away.
Was it in the balloon?
Yes.
Is the balloon red?
Yes.
fucking A, that was awesome.
Did you do the tattoo?
Nope.
Dude, we just watched a doctor diagnose something from the fucking podcast.
About fucking tattoos. He's like, was
His name Nate?
Right. was the giraffe facing to the left?
Was she blonde? Nate hates blondes.
Yes,
like that was
Nate hates
spot on. Dude.
No, it's just most of the time, people who don't have a lot of tattoos don't understand that there are chemicals in the ink. Red ink, most commonly, people have a reaction to, causes these huge scabs, doesn't heal well. When it's all said and done, it may look okay, but if you get close enough, you can tell that it was bad. The artist should have thought to ask questions prior to tattooing her, and that's on whoever did the tattoo.
What I remember, because you're the first tattooer that had ever put color on me, and you asked me.
Yes.
I actually remember that. So I guess it's possible that they didn't ask, but it looked awful. I was like, no, I don't think that's normal.
Nope.
That was a scab. I swear to you, that scab was, I don't know, a quarter of an inch thick.
Yes.
It was bad.
And most of the time with color tattoos, color takes a little more finesse to put in than like solid black. But when people fill in a solid area with a single color like red, they tend to treat it just like black and they just beat it.
Sure.
So you combine someone's allergic reaction to most likely sulfa, which is the common reaction in red ink, with the fact that the artist really shouldn't have been putting in color because he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know enough to ask, tells me he didn't know enough to put it in.
Right.
And that causes some serious malfunctions in tattoos a lot of times.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How many of what you do are corrections or updates or fixes versus just like originals? How many of them are on Kelsey?
Wait, well,
Who just can't stop getting the wrong tattoo?
I have fixed a lot of Kelsey's tattoos.
That girl needs to stop going on spring break.
Kelsey alone makes up 75% of my business. But no, it's probably about a 65-35 split. 65% is me fixing bad work, covering up bad tattoos. Jenny got Bobby's name tattooed on her ass, and now I'm
There, yeah.
yeah.
Say a 41-year-old man had Tap the Rockies tattooed on his ass. It's not me.
so I had actually,
I can cover it up.
I do too with pants.
Yeah, there's a handling fee, but
you had an amazing perspective And I mean this sincerely because I can actually see you saying this. I asked Josh when I was there, I said, how many times have you covered up names? And Josh responded with,
More than I can count.
so when somebody...
It is... Yeah.
So when
many.
somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, I want to get my boyfriend or my husband or my wife's or whatever name," what do you
It's
tell
a
them?
really bad fucking idea. Don't do it.
It's funny.
We've been married 35 years. You'll be divorced in 2 weeks.
The second I'm done with this name, shit's gonna go bad. We were just talking yesterday about a friend of ours that got divorced. And it's not even just that he had this girl's name, it's the size and the placement. It's like about, I don't know, 9 inches.
Oh no!
And it's on his shoulder blade. And it's just,
Oh, man.
I just don't, other than putting dye above it, because they're not together anymore.
We just slap a void stamp over it.
Yes.
There's ways around it. We can do this.
Don't know.
Send him to me.
It's funny because we were just having that discussion yesterday about that. Because I was with him when he did it. It was at his bachelor party, and during the bachelor party, we're all like, "This is not a fucking good idea."
It's just not a good
a
fucking
terrible
idea. It's
idea.
horrible.
Josh was like, "No, I tell them not to do it."
Yeah, it's a bad fucking. Don't do it. I personally won't do them, but when someone else in the store does them, I'll walk into the room and be like, "I'll cover that up for you in 6 months."
Here's my card.
Here's my card. I'll give you a
fix this.
discount.
When this goes south, I'll correct this.
Right.
And I've never done one. This is the reason I stopped doing them. I've never done a name on someone that I did not cover up within the first year.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Dead serious. Not
That's
once.
crazy.
I had a girl in Tampa that had 23 roses down her back. Every one of them, when she would come in, we'd cover up a name and put a new name under it.
No.
Over. And I'm like, when the hell are your boyfriends going to figure out that that's what you're doing? Eventually, you're going to run out of space. Like, I started doing the names in red ink to make it easier to cover up.
Oh my god!
Just because I knew.
Because she was a repeat customer.
Yeah, she was after Rose 11. And I mean, these were in a period of 3 years, 23 tattoos.
Really?
Why would you? Oh my god!
7 a year on average?
I just gave my wife my PIN number.
Exactly.
And I still change it sometimes and don't tell her.
Well, it's funny. One of the tattoos we did on our terrible tattoo podcast was some guy had the name Lauren on his wrist. So the way he fixed it is he got Ralph above it and got the polo horse.
Oh my god!
God.
I love that one.
He turned Lauren into Ralph Lauren.
You know,
I forgot all about that. That's amazing.
But
that was brilliant.
It's brilliant, like that he thought about that. But
Yeah.
the best part about it is Lauren is like this faded black color, and then the rest of it's real dark black.
Oh.
It's really, really funny. That was the only podcast that we did that I wish we'd done a video cast because it would have made it so much better.
Yes.
And I forgot about that. I think that was the one I marked as my favorite one. Yeah. Because I'm looking at it like, what am I Oh, he dated a Lauren. And then really had to buy a lot of Ralph Lauren clothes.
Yeah.
So,
That was really funny. I forgot about that.
So we're gonna get into all kinds of stories here, but so I found this article today. I'm gonna pull this up, and this is gonna help us really kind of kickstart some of this shit. If I can find it again. I've been having this problem lately, like where I'm on this podcast, I'm talking about shit, and I go, "Oh, I'm gonna pull this thing up." So this is on lifehack.org. This is 10 things you've never considered about people with tattoos. All right.
Okay.
So, number one, and some of these are going to be kind of lame, so kind of bear with me while I set this up. They're resilient. So what they say here is no matter how tough you are or how tough you think you are, getting ink under your skin is a painful process. People with tattoos demonstrate physical resilience and courage by making the decision to undergo that pain. The rude remarks and criticism they receive from others also requires a degree of emotional resilience to handle. Fuck off, toughen up in that part.
Agreed.
But like, where are the most painful places to get tattoos?
For me personally, lower back was horrible. I have my entire back tattooed. And I don't have a tramp stamp. Let's not go there.
I do.
It's like, I know. Pretty.
50% of this room has a tramp stamp, and only 3 of them have mics.
Yeah. So, it's...
Shout out Kelsey.
Yeah.
Ain't no way you didn't fix her tramp stamp.
So, it's... The lower back for me was extremely excruciating over the kidney area, and that over the kidney seems to be just about everyone's response to that question who has a back tattoo. Behind the knee...
Oh, shit.
I watch people cry over their ribs. I laughed the entire time, so I can't say that was painful.
Wait. I want to unpack that a little bit. So I know that was a business term. You've tattooed over people's ribs.
Yes.
They're crying.
Yes.
And you're laughing.
No, I laughed when I got mine tattooed.
Oh, you're laughing. You're laughing because they're upset about it, and you're like, "This really isn't that bad."
isn't that bad.
I got
So
you.
I'm laughing
Yeah.
because mine are tattooed.
Gotcha,
and I'm like,
gotcha.
"You're such a bitch."
Yeah, I got you.
I can't wait to tattoo your back right after this.
Yeah.
That's where it's actually
Exactly.
at. You don't actually know what pain is. Yeah.
No. And then the armpit,
Yeah.
which is
Okay, outside of eyeballs, I don't really know why you.
Eyeball.
Oh shit! All right.
Oh, wait. Holy
Venus
fuck.
flytraps.
Oh damn. All right, that's the other thing you should have in there.
Like
Venus
2.5 hours so far. We're not done. Guy ran out of time, but we'll be back at it in a couple of weeks.
So just so we're all
Really?
clear,
That's recent.
because
Yeah, it's about 2 months old.
Wow.
so he has Venus flytrap under his right armpit. So I
Yes.
stand corrected. That's the only thing that should go there.
Or a bear trap.
Fucking
a bear
damn.
trap.
Or a whoopee cushion.
Damn it!
that gag.
Waffle iron.
That would be great.
A waffle iron would be
What about
fucking great.
Anything that opens.
an alligator mouth?
Yes.
Like, this could be the jaw, and this could be the other part of the jaw.
One of my favorites I've seen, a guy had a T-Rex mouth
shit.
with like a little baby head in it. And I was like, that's just wrong, but it's really cool.
It's pretty rad though.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some crazy cool stuff
That's
you can put in
good-
your armpit,
that's
but
actually, yeah.
the armpit was not painful. So anyone
It
who wants to get their
wasn't for
armpit
you?
tattooed, come get it done.
Really?
Yeah.
So
We'll do yours next week.
No, we're
I'm
not.
tempted to do
do it
waffle
for
iron in
free.
my armpit now.
We'll do it for free.
Just to see what happens.
So, is there any part of the body that you've not tattooed on somebody?
No.
Really? Like
Yep.
a fucking nose, eyelid?
Bottom
I've
of the
never
foot.
tattooed. I've tattooed the bottom of the foot.
That's so weird.
I've had
Really?
my bottom of my foot done. I had a toe tag. It wore off in like 2 weeks. It's pointless.
tag?
Don't waste your money.
The gums?
I've tattooed gums. I've tattooed
No
a tongue. I've
shit.
tattooed fingernails. I've tattooed lips. I've tattooed eyelids. I've tattooed people's faces, so nose and everything.
Yeah.
What about some super sensitive areas?
Yeah.
Come on, Josh. Don't hold back.
No, I'm trying to think. Like the only place I haven't tattooed is an asshole.
Really?
Well, I mean, besides
Well,
you
you're in
guys.
luck, Josh. So as a special treat,
Sorry,
Patrick wanted to get Uranus tattooed on his butthole.
we're gonna do it.
That's fucking great. So you've tattooed penises?
Yes,
Not like
Ball sacks.
tattooed a penis, but tattooed a penis.
I have
penis, yeah.
tattooed
Like Joe.
multiple penises. Yes.
Really? Why? Why do people do that? What is there?
Eventually, you run out of room.
And you're just like, I'm doing it. I'm getting a
Doing
fucking
it. Yeah,
elephant.
I'll get there one day.
elephant
but
nose.
Yeah,
I'll get there one day.
Get an elephant on your stomach and the trunk goes down to the dick. That's for, again, the only one I can come to. Maybe a snake.
Pinocchio.
Annie.
God
right
damn,
here.
Josh. You're really good at this.
I'm helping you.
What were those tattoos you did?
I've done Pinocchio.
Okay.
No shit.
Yeah, I have
I'm
done.
lying.
I have done.
Yes, we get it.
I was looking at you specifically. I knew Carissa got it.
Craziest one. Dude in Tampa, we did Have a Nice Day.
Okay.
What about a slinky?
Like, homie just stood up, laid it out on the table, and I tattooed it. I've never. I'm still kind of mentally scarred. I don't like to talk about it.
I actually have a question. And
You want to know that guy's number?
no. No.
His name was Philip.
Okay.
It helps.
I'm
never
sure
mind.
I'll never forget
that
that.
would be memorable.
Yeah.
When you tattoo somebody, you're like, okay, you need arms perfectly down. When you
Yes.
tattoo somebody's penis, are you like, all right, dude, we got to get you worked up here?
Yeah, generally a fluff girl or guy, whatever their preference comes
Are you
in.
being serious?
Yeah.
Fucking
They have to be
A.
erect to put a stencil on. Because, I mean, otherwise your stencil's going to stretch and look weird.
I did not consider that.
Me neither. Until I started thinking about Pinocchio, I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a second, how did you?
Exactly.
Holy
Can
shit!
all right.
Flaccid does not work in this situation.
Oh man!
We may need to take a break. I'm gonna need a minute. Because what if you're not seeing anyone at the time?
No, there's no way you get that done and you're not seeing somebody. You like no. I mean, does anybody here disagree? Like, if you're to the point where you're getting your dick tattooed, people are seeing your dick on the reg. Or why else would you do that, right?
Because no
Agreed.
one's seeing it.
Because nobody see that doesn't even make sense. When you walk around
Because you're
the mall-
trying to be a perv without getting arrested. So you can just be like, hey, look at this.
Right, so you walk around the mall going, I have a Pinocchio tattoo. Nah, no you don't. Yes, I do. I'll show you. Zip.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess. that's
but I've never had someone come in without someone.
yeah. I'd be surprised
Thank
if
God.
they
They
did.
don't take it out and look at you like,
Yeah. And I'm like, no.
I thought this was full service.
I don't get paid enough for that.
So tattooing, you mentioned you had a toe tag on your foot,
Yes.
and it's gone.
Yes.
I'm assuming because the skin just goes away so quickly.
Yeah, the skin on the bottom of the foot regenerates just like the palm of the hand, the inside of the finger, all bad places to get tattooed. It's
that
going to
be-
wear off.
Is that because it's calloused skin?
Yes.
So what is the difference between tattooing calloused skin versus a scar or standard, just regular skin?
Standard regular skin's very pliable. Scar tissue is a little harder to work with because you're working with an area that's very condensed. It's not porous. It's not like there's a bunch of hair follicles in scar tissue if you think about it. It's just a very hard area to tattoo. And it's very fragile skin. So, like a calloused area, I can dig in as hard as I want to and you're probably not going to feel it.
Right.
Regular skin, you're softer than you would be with callous skin, obviously, but you still make sure you have enough pressure applied to get the job done.
Yeah.
When it comes to scar tissue, you go a little softer to make sure you're not tearing it. You don't want
Right.
to create more scarring underneath the tattoo.
And it cuts easier.
Yes,
That's why
much
like,
easier.
you see fighters who get cut in every single fight usually have a lot of scar tissue across like their eyes and their forehead. And when they get cut, it's not necessarily because they're hurt. It's because the skin is so much more fragile here. And you
Yes.
actually have to have surgery to repair a lot of the scar tissue because for them, fights will get stopped because they're bleeding and cut so much.
Yes.
So they're just re-injuring and already injured.
They've been, that area's been open so off. It's the same thing, I guess, with anything else. Like if you have a dislocated shoulder, that one's always going to be susceptible to be dislocated again. It's the same thing with scar tissue.
Yeah.
yeah.
Number 2.
Oh my God, that was one.
I knew it was gonna be good. And we asked about they're resilient and talked about dick tattoos.
Yeah.
So
that was
think
the
about that.
Natural progression.
Yeah, absolutely. They can turn the other cheek with all the criticism tattooed people receive. Which let's talk about that because I don't think that that's the case anymore.
It's so common. I
You
feel
would
like
still be surprised how much you get criticized. Someone who looks like me, when we're talking, neck tattoos, hand tattoos. I walk down an aisle at a grocery store, an old lady 10 feet from her cart walks back to it, grabs her purse, pulls it closer.
Yeah, you got profiled.
I did.
Yeah.
And it's still very common that those things happen. You'll always have someone who doesn't agree with it.
Yeah.
That's just part of life. It's not as common, but it still happens quite often.
I think it's getting to the point though where it's so tattooing culture, and again, so keep me square on this. Tattooing culture used to be a differentiator, right? I'm talking way back.
Okay.
right?
We're talking Vietnam, World War II
Yes.
era.
Yes.
For that era, it was more of a military thing. And then those military guys coming out of World War II became bikers because they rode Hondas and wherever. You know, and so tattooing took on a really bad rap for a long time. I mean, it's existed since the Egyptians prior to.
Right.
But it took on a bad rap around that era and didn't come out of it. That gang relation automatically to tattoos or prisoner or some bad person having the tattoos until the last 5 or 6 years.
You really that deep?
Yeah.
I would agree. And this might be a dumb example. It probably is. But when you like go to like websites, like clothing websites and things like that now the models have neck tattoos or they have sleeves.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I understand what you're saying about there's still going to be like that generation that is still not past that. They're just not. They see tattoos. They're like, that's it.
Yeah.
You're over here in this bucket. But I think in the last 5-6 years, it's just become so much more mainstream, common, and it's just I don't think a lot of people just don't blink at it, especially the current generation. I just don't think blink at those things.
They put it on TV.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it got popular.
Another great example. Yeah.
It's interesting because my very first tattoo I got right as tribal tattooing was becoming like super popular. Do you remember that phase?
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it was in the 90s. That's exactly right. It was like fucking Dusk Till Dawn comes out. George Clooney has all those
shit.
tribal tattoos.
Neck to
and I
his
was
arm,
like, I want
yeah.
that shit too. And they went and fucking got it.
Yeah.
So it went from being this like thing that nobody seemed to be doing to this thing that now everybody does. And
Yes.
I love tattoos. I think they're great, and I think the tattoo culture is awesome to me. But it's no longer a differentiator. It's now like the thing you do because everybody's doing it. It feels like.
Yes. It has become a very popular thing for the Kelseys of the world versus people who truly appreciate the art.
Yeah.
You know, there are very few left who just truly appreciate the art and are that differential.
Right.
Compared to the ones who 18 years old out of high school, I
Yeah.
want an infinity knot with all of my ancestors' names on the inside of it.
Right.
You know. And Kelsey pays my bills, man.
There's that many Kelseys, really.
Yeah.
So, do you think tattooing as a culture the pendulum will swing back? Do you think we'll get to the point where it's so saturated with everybody's done it, and I want to be unique and not have a tattoo?
I don't know. I think eventually, probably, yes.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you know, the 80 shops in Cleveland will cut back to the 8 best.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't see that happening in the next 100 years.
Yeah.
It's not. It's grown with such popularity since like 95, 96 that, you know, it's starting to become accepted in workplaces. It's starting to become accepted just about everywhere, except for the old people or the white collar corporate America.
Yeah.
The old guard. No. That's
Yeah.
the old- you look at me like
Like
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe. Like
Joe, you and your golf buddies. Fucking care. I know you say. I mean, it's referred to a lot of these things like as the
Yes.
old guard, the old way of thinking.
Exactly.
You can lump a lot of things in there, the sexism, the racism stuff.
And
too.
as that dies out, you come into the newer generation, which are us. I mean, the 90s kids, the kids who grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, thinking, okay, you're fucking weird because you don't have a tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think about it
Yeah.
now. I mean, I was just kind of thinking. I mean, I think just more often than not, more people just have tattoos now. I mean, I think about people at work, people that I know. it's harder and harder to come across someone who doesn't have one.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
why I think, like, even to your point about white collar jobs, and I
Yes.
think that stigma still happens. The last
Sure,
it does.
employer I worked for, if you fucking showed up and you could see beneath somebody's collar or above their collar or under the
Yes.
part of their sleeve, they weren't getting fucking hired.
Okay, with that in mind, think of Fortune 500 companies. How many CEOs are under the age of 55?
Yeah, a lot.
There's
now.
still that old guard for the most part.
The only ones that I can think of are ones that started the companies, like if you
Exactly,
think about
like-
like Amazon, something like that.
Amazon
but
or something
Amazon
like
is
that.
not again like Amazon's not Ford or Chevy.
No.
Amazon is a company that grew because it understood the times that it was in. So that's why I think that's kind of an exception. But
Yeah.
if we're talking about like obviously, there's a good chance that the CEO of GM doesn't have any tattoos because that's a guy that again that industry that whatever things like that I think but again
believe
that's
it's a
gonna
woman.
And
keep
he's not
changing.
going to bat his eye.
It's a
at the-
woman?
at the-
I think so.
What is
well, yeah.
happening?
But him or her,
All right, I don't
Joe's
wanna talk
old
about
guard.
this
We got
anymore.
this. We know now the sexist thing.
right.
You know, but whoever, male or female, may be, that's the CEO of GM is not going to bat their eye at the guy on the line with a
Yes,
tattoo.
exactly.
Right.
But I guarantee you, her assistant or his assistant isn't covered.
That's probably true. I think if you work for a company, even if it's a white collar company, if you work for a company that is 10 years or younger, everybody's got fucking tattoos.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're
Because you couldn't employ your company.
that's
You just
exactly right.
couldn't.
Like
If you work for especially a younger company, like a quote unquote startup,
right. Everyone's gonna
yeah,
everyone's gonna have
it'd be
tattoos.
damn near impossible to even employ your company for the things that it needed.
All right, number 3. Ready?
All right.
There's 10 of these. They're committed. Tattoos are for life. To get one means you're ready to commit to something for the rest of your life. I mean, obviously.
Oh well, I mean, I guess in
Well,
terms of the
but-
tattoo, you are.
But
I don't think it means like you're ready for marriage.
but two things.
And I think Josh has already killed that. You definitely don't want to mix those two worlds,
No.
relationships and tattoos.
Separation of church and state. Leave it there.
But you can get something covered up. You've talked about it.
Yes.
And you've talked, and I've heard you say several times that the covering up work is something you're very talented at.
It is one of the things I specialize in, but with that in mind, the tattoo is still there.
Sure.
I tell people all the time, people would come in and they're like, oh, well, that seems a little too expensive. I'm like, are you going to take the money to your grave?
Right.
Because you're going to take this with you.
Right.
Minus a nice suit, what else is going?
Right.
I'm going Egyptian pharaoh style. I'm getting buried with everything.
everything.
Yeah.
I'm taking like my
He's
Nintendo.
taking Roscoe.
I'm
Roscoe's
taking
taking
fucking everything. I'm like, what? Yeah, I want those shoes. Put them in there with me. I'm taking everything. Guitar, that's mine. It's coming. I'm going Egyptian pharaoh, where you're just buried with everything.
Everything gone.
What? Tell me about laser removal on tattoos.
Oh, God. It's an excruciating process.
Okay.
It's,
Do you guys do that?
the bet no. It's a medical process here in Ohio. Down in Florida, you can walk into just about any tattoo shop and be like, hey, I want this removed, and they'll slap you with a laser.
No shit.
A bunch. Takes multiple sessions to remove a tattoo. It is make sure you get what you want the first time.
Okay.
This is far more
Because-
painful than the actual tattoo.
Yeah, imagine getting your tattoo, intensifying that by about 10,
Holy shit.
and then dump boiling hot grease right on top of it. Basically tar and feather yourself. That's what laser removal feels like for tattoos.
Really?
People are like, oh, it's going to be the same as laser hair removal. No, it's not.
Because you have to get every layer of skin that ink
They
exists
are
in.
burning the tattoo out of you. Ooh. Literally. They are burning the ink out of you.
Have you ever had anything laser removed?
I tried.
Okay.
I did not succeed. I made it one session, paid for the whole thing, and I'm like, you guys can keep the money. Thank you for putting up with me while I cried. Don't tell anyone.
It was that bad.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. that was.
If you're listening to this and you want a tattoo, get the right tattoo the first fucking time.
And that's
What'd
the
he
thing
say?
that's just the thing that's just always killed me about that. It's just the relationship thing, like that Rose story. I mean, I want her to keep doing it because it's funny. I also want to pull her aside and be like, hey, fucker, maybe wait 5 months and see if this is going to work out. Because historically, you suck with guys.
Fuck, wait 2 weeks.
Where'd you meet this guy? The stoplight after my last tattoo?
Yeah, exactly.
He's the one. Fucking A.
Yeah, I actually talked a kid out of it one time because he came in. He wanted his girlfriend's name across his chest.
Oh.
I mean, he's belligerently drunk.
Oh,
And
we're going to get
he's,
into yeah.
He's slurring words, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is just a bad idea. Don't do it.
yeah.
And I'm like, how long have you been dating? 2 weeks. Oh. But I love her.
Asshole.
But I love her. We're gonna be together forever, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, don't just come back tomorrow. If you're sober and you come in and you want to do this, I'll tattoo you.
Okay.
He came back a week later and thanked me because they broke up.
Really?
And I'm like, see, I told, and he wanted like 4-inch letters, Mary, across his chest, and I'm like, no, just don't do it, man. Come on.
All right, so scenario. Obviously, him and Mary didn't work out. He
Yes.
comes back in. How do you fix that?
That would have been the first time I had seen a tattoo that I couldn't cover up.
Oh, no, I got it. Mary Lou Retton. And it's like,
Yeah. Mary, mother of, you know,
Or what about like
bloody
some,
above
like,
it.
Or
Yeah.
Bloody Mary.
Praying
Never
hands
mind. I
underneath.
can do this.
praying hands.
Yeah.
Exactly. A rosary.
Yeah.
Something. We'll make it work.
Marysville.
A.
That's in actually southern Ohio.
Marysville?
so-
Yeah, there we go.
Never mind. He's fine. Mary Lou Retton. I just have always been a fan of her work.
The 80s were a great era.
Yeah.
The next one here, number 4. They know themselves. There are a million different types of tattoos in the world. However, tattooed people know which tattoos they want. That says a lot about their knowledge of their bodies and emotion.
I don't think that's true at all.
I completely disagree with that statement.
Please continue, because
I have tattoos I hate. If we're being honest, you know, I'm like, I look at my right arm, which was supposed to be this beautiful Japanese artwork, and I'm like, and I mean, it's well done, it's beautifully tattooed, but I loathe it.
Okay.
It's like, I'm not fucking Japanese. I'm never going to be part of the fucking Yakuza. What was I thinking?
Well, not with that attitude, but
yeah, you know.
I mean, be positive.
I'm just like, shit, this was a bad idea. So now I'm,
Hold that out.
But, so I know a little
that
bit
is
about
nice,
this
though.
tattoo
That
because
is
Josh
cool, though.
told me.
yeah, you know, Fudog, Chrysanthemum, Raijin.
So to me, the way you got it done and where you got it done is the value of that tattoo.
Yes.
Not the tattoo itself.
Yes.
So
You know, it was done
Tell
the old
everybody about
style.
that.
It was done Tabori, which is no machines. It's all hand done. What Kelsey likes to call pick and poke. But it's actually called Tabori. It's done with old bamboo shoot, and you have an apprentice for the artist that actually stretches the skin because he's working the needle with both hands, you know, and it's excruciating. It's painful. I love having it for that reason, that I went through that, but I hate the art.
So you told me that was how many days?
9 days.
9 days.
9 days in a row.
And
About 9 hours a day.
and tell everybody what the
full-time
the
job.
word again is what?
Tabori.
Tabori. Tell everybody what that method is.
You know, bamboo shoot. They take this long bamboo shoot with a needle that's about 16 inches long. And of course, on the bottom, it looks like a standard tattoo needle. It's multiple needles layered. But the bar itself is about 16 inches long. And then they hold the bamboo shoot and then they just jam this thing into your skin over and over again.
Oh my god.
Yeah, not the old tap method. The
Okay,
way like
I was doing that. Okay, I
yeah,
thought it was that.
this is like a
like a stab.
he's shoveling your skin off. Is what it feels like.
I thought it was like that thing where they were tapping it with. Okay.
Have you ever thought about being flayed?
Constantly.
That's what it. Yeah. Exactly, all the time.
I'm into weird shit.
Joe's, Joe's favorite method of suicide is being flayed.
Yeah, there we go. See?
You're gonna do it. Go out with a fucking bang.
Yeah.
I want people
Do
to
it
remember
yourself.
me.
So, like, I could get, like, you look at it and go, but, I mean, it's cool to have had it done in Japan.
Yes.
And,
Agreed, yeah.
And that method.
Yes.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people have you ever met who have had the exact same experience?
Not many.
Exactly.
You know, it's something that I've done. I don't hang out with a bunch of Yakuza guys, so they're about the only other ones that really put themselves through that. There's a guy that comes to the conventions here in Cleveland and does it for people.
Oh, really?
But he uses machines for the line work and stuff.
No. So
You
it's
know.
not the...
It's not true to boring.
Yeah.
You know, but it's kind of the same experience because he shades them down that way. But
So when I was reading this, I was even through the first sentence, you started shaking your head back and forth. I could hear your eyeballs. They know themselves. I mean, how many times do you see people come in? They don't know what they want. They're searching the perimeter, looking at the walls. They point to something.
constantly.
Yeah.
All the time. For a lot of people, tattoos are an impulse decision. They're not something they've given any thought to whatsoever. And I'm like, this is the rest of your life. This isn't, you're going to go home and wash this off tonight.
Right.
That's kind of why I kind of disagreed too about the know themselves, because he's already given us so many examples about no, they clearly do not.
Yeah, no.
Like that
They have no-
girl.
Kelsey.
Kelsey with the rose. I'm going to follow everyone that I can find on Kelsey on Instagram
Until you find her.
Until I
Yeah.
find this girl. But I mean that right there is that's very much an impulse, like 30 or 20 like impulses over and over again,
Yeah.
and not learning. So that's not knowing. So I actually agree with you there.
I mean, it's the pure definition of insanity with her. It's,
Yeah, right.
you know,
Doing the same thing over again and
Over and
thinking there
over
was a
again.
different result. Yeah.
yeah, it's,
So do you find, like, when people come in and they just know they want a tattoo, like, I'm assuming the majority of the time they're very young.
yes.
And how many, what percentage of people that you tattoo are that kind of tattoo?
Probably, again, back to that kind of 65-35
Wow.
split.
That many.
It's, of that 35% that don't get fixes or cover-ups, it's 65% of that are people who have no idea what they actually want.
Fucking A. It's 18-year-old girls with a dolphin on their fucking ankle, like Carissa.
Yes.
Oh.
Or
Carissa, we're recording a podcast. Please be quiet. Yeah. We're all really happy you
Carissa
got
has
flipper
a
on your
dolphin
left.
on her ankle.
So on top
got a
of that,
bow tie.
this was. I know that Patrick's gonna ask a lot of questions, so I'm sorry if I'm stepping on this.
That's
But
all right.
the more we talk about this, the more I wanted to ask. So, of all the impulse ones, what is the worst tattoo, if you want to call it fad, that you've kind of experienced? Because I have one in my mind that I've always
me
hated.
too.
tribal.
Tribal.
What's yours?
I hate fucking barbed wire.
Oh, that was mine!
I fucking hate it.
The barbed wire thing, I fucking hated.
Okay. Barbed wire can be done in a style that's kind of cool.
Okay.
That has not been released to the public yet.
Yeah, you guys don't know about this. We're just talking about it now.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
putting this out there for the first time.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
You could do some pretty cool shit with barbed wire. Tribal is tribal.
Okay.
It's black, big, bulky.
Chinese character,
Agreed,
yeah. What's
Chinese
another?
characters. Because you have shrimp fried rice and you don't know what it means.
Yeah. Ariana Grande, shout out.
It means strength.
Right.
No, it doesn't. It means stir fry, you dumbass.
Yeah.
Get a second opinion. Barbed wire was always mine, though. That was
Yeah.
because that was again growing up that kind of in the '90s, early 2000s.
Yes.
it was kind of kicking in, and I never got it. I didn't like it.
A lot of people don't know it's like it's a Russian prison thing. It means you're stuck there. You're hung there for life.
Okay.
And
Which I didn't learn until I saw what was Eastern Promises. When I
Yeah.
saw that, that's when I was like, oh, so someone saw that and decided to bring it over to every varsity football team in America.
yes,
But I'm like, it actually means something, like it, because I was like, why do they all have the same thing that Andy Katzenmoyer from Ohio State had?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's actually a Russian thing. That's a really good point. Yeah.
yeah.
So let's do one more here, then we're going to take a break.
Okay.
Everyone all right with that? You good on
Sounds good.
time?
Yeah.
I just want to be respectful of your time.
No, you're good.
They appreciate deeper meaning. Some tattoos are trivial, and it's difficult to understand the deeper meaning they had. Blah, 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 blah. Some things mean more to others. This is something that I've noticed while I'm sitting and waiting to have a tattoo done, or I'm being tattooed. Somebody comes in and they have an idea for a tattoo, and then they fucking regale everybody in the parlor with what this fucking means to them. And I almost get embarrassed. Like, just tell them what you want and move on. None of us needs to know that your Aunt Mary used to plant petunias, and that there was a hummingbird who would always come over, and it would always come from the east. Like, Jesus Christ, just get a fucking petunia and a hummingbird.
Yeah, just tell me what you want.
Right?
A lot of times I joke around all the time. I'm more like a therapist than an artist. Because
Like they feel like they have to justify what they're doing
Yes!
to you.
Yes!
Yeah.
they feel like it needs justification, and I'm like, okay, I understand what you're saying. I'll listen to your story. I will sympathize with you.
Yeah.
A lot of times at night when I go home, I can't get that shit out of my head, and I just beat my head against a wall because I'm tired of hearing the same story about how your grandmother passed away. Mm-hmm. And I know that makes me sound like a dick. I am a dick. We know.
No, it's
not at all.
But you know,
But it's a weird thing to be like, buddy, you're paying for this. I'll put a Volkswagen on your fucking forehead. I don't give a
Exactly.
shit.
Right.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
And
And
I
you
mean,
know the
I
one
do-
thing that happened with your grandmother that happened with everyone's grandmother? They all pass away.
They
Unless
die.
your grandmother's a fucking vampire, buddy. Move on.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
tell me
I
what
get
you
it.
want. Like, to your point, tell me what you want.
You know, and again, I do listen. I'm respectful. I understand that they need some type of outlet when we are discussing their tattoos to move past what they're doing, what they're stuck on in life. And tattoos do that for a lot of people. It did it for me in college.
Mm-hmm.
Actually made me quit school and
Become an artist.
become an artist
pretty
myself. So, you know, and I know I told my story to the artist who did my chest for 13 hours. He listened to me bitch and whine about finals. So
I can't even imagine. I studied for 2 weeks.
Josh is in like, man, this teacher hates me.
exactly.
Final.
You know, I was 23 years old. I was the
I don't know why I
fucking
get such a-
world was ending.
She's such a kick out of that.
And
That's funny,
it was so I feel like now I'm kind of getting back what I did to that guy.
Yeah, right. For 13
I
hours.
deserve every fucking thing that happens to me when I think back and think of that first tattoo that I got.
And it's funny because I do actually completely understand and respect every time I hear somebody come in and they go, I want to get this tattoo for this reason. I think that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because you're, what we talked about earlier, you're getting it for a deeper meaning.
Yes.
You know what I don't need? The backstory.
Yes.
That takes 15 minutes while somebody's got somebody in a room who's just like, can we get back to the work that is now starting to throb on my arm?
You think that's bad? Come in a week later and sit there for 3 hours with them.
fast.
You guys, we have conversation.
Yeah.
When I'm tattooing you.
You know, that was actually one of the things that I mentioned is that when I got done with, I remember texting Patrick and telling my wife, I'm like, you know, the thing that was awesome about it because it's a long time.
Yeah.
Mine was probably around 5 hours total, and we just sat there, listened to music, talked about the artwork, talked about food, talked about bourbon. I'm like, quite frankly, it was kind of awesome. Like it took my mind off a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't bored. Not that I thought I was going to, but it took my mind off everything that was going on.
Yeah,
My arm, and I was like, I was having a blast just because those are all the things I like: whiskey, art, bourbon,
Music.
music. I love that stuff, and that's what it was. He put his thing on shuffle, which is exactly what I do too. Put my phone on shuffle and just go. Song comes on, talk about it.
Yep.
And then where does that lead to? That's what I love so much about it.
Yeah.
Made it all relaxing.
I try to do that for people. I try to, because in that moment, when you can get away from the reason you're here for the tattoo, when you can just start talking about things that have no relevance whatsoever to why you're there, you start to realize that thing that's holding you back isn't really holding you back. You're letting it. So once you move past that and get into conversations the way we all have when we're sitting there bullshitting.
Which actually reminds me, and I apologize, I never brought up why I got mine. So in 11th grade, I was dating this girl, Kelsey. And you know what? It's too hard. I don't want to talk about it. I'll bring it up next time I come in.
We'll sit down for it.
Please.
You know.
But I do kind of feel shitty sitting here bagging on people that do that. But like,
I feel fine.
no, I mean I do feel shitty because it does mean something to them, and
it does.
and they do want people to know the story.
Yes.
But tell people who like are going to see it. Is that
You'll never
being a dick?
No, I think it's a different. It's a different personality. Like we kind of. I think it's the same thing about like so. If you and I were to have a problem, we would probably text or call each other. A lot of other people, they go to Facebook, and they do this long thing on Facebook. I see like a correlation between the two, like telling strangers versus telling people that maybe
the people who are telling me their stories are telling Facebook.
That's I completely agree.
Interesting.
Versus actually sitting down and having a conversation with someone who can help you through it.
Yeah,
like a friend.
Yeah, or therapist.
Or anybody but me.
like literally anyone but me.
Anyone but me. Talk to my wife about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Talk to your friend, your mom, your penis fluffer for your tattoo.
Yes,
whoever
exactly.
they can work you through this.
Anybody but me.
All right, so let's do this. Let's take a break,
yeah,
and get a drink and whatever everyone needs to do, and we'll come back.
All right.
Cool.
The thing about our breaks is like, unless we said, if we didn't say we were going on a break, you would never know we went on a break.
No, we can just abruptly stop.
Yeah, it's stupid that we even say
because
we're
when you
taking a
listen
break.
to this, you're not obviously there's not like a 15 minutes of silence.
No, yeah, we don't even have,
there was
I
no
don't even
cut.
know why we even say it, but
I know.
I think it's
Dumb.
just for us. I don't care.
All right.
We would do it when it was just he and I.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Yeah.
want to take a break, pause, and then he and I would sit there and talk, and then just start like we needed a breather because we're in such great shape.
All right, number 6. You guys ready? I actually
Yeah.
love this one. They are probably not horrible parents. It's a common misconception that a man with a skull inked. I need to get my eyes checked again. Inked on his arm would make a horrible father. Just because they look scary doesn't mean that they're going to treat their children badly.
That is a huge misconception with people. You see it on the internet all the time. Take kids away from tattooed parents, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, let's throw them into a foster system that's going to beat them and use them for money.
People actually say take kids away from tattooed parents.
Oh, it's a huge thing, yes.
Are you serious right now?
Dead serious.
That might be our new thing. Incels and them. That's fucking dumb.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, like, I'm a single father. I was until I met my wife. I raised my son. He is a great kid. He's never been beaten. Was never neglected. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at me, it's not like he's not eating.
Right.
You know, he's got a roof over his head. He's a straight A student.
Right.
We're not bad parents.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are some tattooed people who are just shitty parents.
There's plenty of people.
But there's
that don't
people
have
who
tattoos
don't
that are
have
terrible
tattoos, like
parents.
my father, that are just shitty parents.
Right.
I mean,
my
the man
dad-
doesn't have a tattoo on his body,
Right.
but he's a horrible fucking human being. He's a preacher.
Well, oh shit.
Wait,
Never mind. Crack that.
Was he? Hold on.
Crack that
I'm
code.
sorry. I have to do this. Was he one of the preachers that would do the rattlesnakes?
Yes.
Oh shit! Are you fucking serious?
For months, I've been trying to remember who it was that I met who had. What? Sorry.
No, I remember talking about this like a year ago. Never mind, we're
Primitive
back on
Southern
this team.
Baptist.
Can you introduce us? He told me about this literally a year ago, and I'm like, that's fucking absurd. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally has been. He's like, someone told me that
And
they
I
know
couldn't
someone that
remember
he
who
couldn't
it was.
figure it out.
Yeah, no, he's completely insane.
Okay.
Believes that I mean, the guy's been bitten and given anti-venom so many times, it's not funny.
Really?
He's fucking insane. He's like, God won't let me die. And I'm like, no, anti-venom won't let you die.
Yeah, God's fine with it.
God's good with it.
Actually, God was trying, and then you intervened.
Yeah, the doctor stopped
Yeah.
it.
God's on board.
He was like, fuck you, you're dead. And the doctors were like, no, let's give him another chance. But he's just fucking insane. And, you know, I mean, guys like that don't make for good parents.
Right.
So, yeah. Not all people with tattoos are bad parents. Not all people without tattoos are award-winning. You know?
I almost went off on a completely different tangent and turning that into the podcast now moving forward.
Right.
But I don't want to do that.
We'll do that another day.
Yeah. But that's... Yeah, I just think that, again, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Like, statistically, it has to be statistically more people have tattoos than they did 2 decades ago.
Plus, the
Yes.
the thing that he just read off, or that anyone just
Percentage
kind
of the population.
the thing
Yes.
that anyone just casually said about, you know, people with tattoos are this, or people without tattoos are this. No one's done a fucking study on that. Let's be real.
Right.
That's just, it's an opinion stat with absolutely nothing to back
By
it
the
up.
old guard.
Yeah, by the old guard.
And it's...
My friends.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Joe's white collar friends.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a common misconception. It really is that if you have tattoos, you have to be a shitty parent.
And I do.
There's-
I think that's very much an old guard, new generation thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the. I mean, he and I have joked around about it, and I've joked around about this with my family too. Like, my dad wasn't like a bad. He wasn't a bad. He was an amazing parent,
Yeah.
but he was very much the tattoo guy, where he's just like, tattoos? Why would you do that? You're never going to get a job. But he was part of the, my dad was 78 years old when he passed. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just a different time.
Exactly.
He wasn't sitting with people with tattoos and be like, "Can you remove them, please?" But I mean, he did think that. But he also was just like, well, "Your hair is too long. My hair be like that long," you know. And that's just a different way of
Old
thinking.
military, I'm guessing.
Yeah, very much. Military ranger. That's a different way of thinking.
Yes.
But he never had problems with people with tattoos.
No.
He was just like, "Don't do that because of this." Even though, as he was getting older and as the world was, it just wasn't the case anymore.
Yeah.
So
No.
It's so funny. There's a girl that we work with. Joe probably doesn't even know this. Joe and I worked together in our previous job. Mm-hmm. We commonly refer to it as Satan's Gate. We work with a girl who is in a leadership position now. She has her ears gauged.
Uh-huh.
She's got tattoos, and she went for an interview at our former employer, and they didn't even bother to interview her. They said, based on your appearance, we don't hire people with... Now she's in a leadership position. Like, what a stupid philosophy. Now, it's your business. I realize you can run it any
it's
way
up to
you want.
I don't care.
But you lost out on a great employee based on the way they look to you immediately.
And see, the bad thing is legally they can't do that anymore.
There's no way to prove it, though.
Tattoos,
You
yeah, there's
can't
no way to
it.
prove it.
Right.
We all know why.
Yeah.
But you can't prove it.
Yeah, because tattoos, I mean, are protected under the Freedom of Art Act. It's Obama did that. It's part
Thanks,
of
Obama.
right? It's the only thing. But
No, we just lost. No.
we just lost 75 listeners.
That's
Sorry.
fine.
No. Most of our listeners are very pro-Trump, so it's fine.
Okay, you know.
Not that either.
That would be really bad.
Yeah, it would be.
But no.
Yeah, those guys can't operate podcasts. There's no way they can find us.
they can't work a computer. No.
Right.
You know, it's a huge thing. It's still white. I said, white collar.
I agree. And actually, the place he was talking about that he and I used to work, that kind of quote unquote was just like, no, you're not really our thing.
Yeah.
There's a couple other denominators I think a factor into it. It's a super Christian company.
Super. Flew the Christian flag in front of the building.
Yeah. It actually has it's a fundraising company. It has a Christian division that fundraises for Christian. I think that plays a big factor in it too, because they're also What's up?
No, go ahead.
No, I think they are also old, and I'm going to kind of defend Christian Catholic here too, because it's very much an old guard Christian Catholic company as well. Myself, and he and I actually joked around about a very early podcast, is that, in my opinion, from the people I know, because I was raised Catholic, most people I know were raised Catholic. Catholics are fucking phenomenal at separating church and state. Yeah. Like Catholics and Christians are like religious from 10 to 11 a.m. on Sunday, and after that it's fuck all. Right. So, but I mean, it's actually this company is a blend of the Christian and the old guard, and the way that they actually view those types of things.
And it's funny, the first tattoo studio I ever worked for, the one I did my apprenticeship through, was a Christian-owned and operated tattoo studio. The second one I worked for was a Christian-owned and operated. I mean, the place was called Believers, Inc. You know, it's like they are...
I assume there's a cross somewhere on you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 10 Commandments.
No. Giant stone cross, though, on my back.
I knew there was one. I don't know how big. Which, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't
About
think
10.5 by 8.5, give or
Giant.
take.
Nice.
Yeah. Big.
Yeah.
Very large. But, you know, with that being said, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of organized religion, but...
Yeah, so...
Totally
I don't know.
different
And this
subject.
is actually a good... Where we're probably going to get off on one here is the... I don't think that the... I was never really convinced that the religion was the problem. It was the organization of it, because you said organized religion.
Yes.
Because, like, if somebody is a quote-unquote, let's just stick with the Catholic thing or Christian thing. If someone's a quote-unquote born-again Christian and it improves their life or makes them happier, makes them more productive, stops them from doing shit they used to do, who the fuck
More
wants to try
power
to
to
stop that?
Nobody.
I think to me, and I think you can make this argument, and you know what, I'll even say this in a kind of a goofier way. Scientology, and you and I have had a lot of talks about this, is that a lot of the people that have left, quote-unquote, left the Scientology... I guess we'll call it religion. Let's be real. It's a fucking after-school fucking club. But they were never really totally had a problem with Scientology as a whole. They had a problem with the leadership. And at least they would say, we didn't like the way it was run.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a problem with religion, but the hierarchy of religion is, I think, where most of these problems actually stem from. If religion makes your life better or makes your existence, quote unquote, better, and makes you be a better person, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think where the problems start is when people are enforcing laws that someone, quote unquote, 500 years ago that no one knew, put in place. You don't even know if it's true or not.
Yeah.
The organization of religion, I think, is the problem, not the religion itself.
Yeah, my big problem with it, going back to tattoos, you get people who, Catholics, Christians, hit you with Leviticus. Don't mark or pierce your body in mourning as the heathens do.
But they'll fuck each other to death before marriage.
It's fucking Old Testament.
Yeah. Right.
Like if you look at the New Testament, Galatians says, let no man cause me trouble, for I bear on my body the marks of Jesus.
Yeah.
Old Testament went away, right? You cut your hair, you shave your face. Mm-hmm. If you're going to follow one rule, you have to follow them all. And the organization itself, especially in Catholicism, is no.
Right.
Hard set, no. And that's my biggest issue with it, is being who I am. I don't need 4 walls and 100 people to have a relationship with God.
Right.
We have our own relationship.
I just need that water to wine thing, basically.
That does work really well.
That's all.
It's great.
No, I agree with you. And it's funny because you mentioned Egyptians a little while ago, too. It's also curious to me, the just because of the topic we're talking about, kind of what we're joking around about now, the tattoo versus religion thing, because they are intertwined.
Yes.
For sure, going back thousands of years.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me.
Yeah. It's huge. I mean, tattoos have been around as long as religion.
Yeah.
There's no way that through history they're not intertwined. When you look at the things they're uncovering now,
right,
it's showing tattoos on bodies that are
3,000
years mummified.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And these were great religious leaders.
And I think people also don't like. I go back to like the henna stuff that people
Yes.
do on their hands. People again are just like you know where that came from. That wasn't a fad. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, these are they're ingrained in religion.
Yeah.
And it's become a fad, and you don't even realize it. And then
Absolutely.
those same people probably don't know anything about it. Like, oh, organized religion, whatever. Like, look at your fucking hand, dummy.
Yeah.
Like that's so ingrained in it, and people just don't even realize it.
Yeah,
they're
it's
very intertwined.
Hinduism.
Very
It's-
intertwined.
Yeah, extremely.
But it's a type of artwork that is so freaking appealing.
Oh, yeah.
I love looking at it. Like when somebody has even like temporary, you look at it, and you're like, the design is so appealing, and how it curves. Where does it move?
Oh, very, very
and where
much.
does this stop? And you
No, it
look
looks
at that, and
really-
you're like,
yeah.
so I could see why something like that is appealing enough to people where they're going to go, I'm going to get that permanently done on my body.
I
Yeah.
agree. My friend Kelsey, she actually had. Oh no, we're back to her.
Did you have anything else on
No,
that?
we're good.
7. They can appreciate unconventional beauty. Some tattoos are beautiful and elegant. Others are a little more of an acquired taste. Okay.
I don't know, man. So much. I don't know. That just seems subjective.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I mean, I feel like some of the things in the list are kind of being read as like a blanket statement, or maybe like a rule of people that have tattoos. And I think a lot of it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Good tattoos can take a 3 to a 9.
oh yeah, I very much agree. And
Same
also
way bad
placement.
tattoos can take a 9 to a 3.
Yeah.
it's interesting to me that you pointed at me when you said take it from a 3 to a 9.
No, I was just like,
Oh, dude, no, you're in no danger of being a 9.
you're not there yet.
Yeah, you're like a 3 to a 3.5.
I don't have that much ink, Patrick. I'm sorry.
But you know what? Like for
Not
me,
with this hog.
all right, I want to take another break. No, there are again, some of the tattoos on like certain people just work.
They do.
Like there are sometimes you see like a girl that has like this tattoo, and you're like, oh, I normally don't like that, but damn, that works. I don't know
Yeah.
why, it just does.
It does. Now, so
Like if you have the Brooklyn Bridge on the back of your left arm, I might marry your ass. So
So,
if
you know, it does-
anybody.
in that regard, if you're looking at it that way of unconventional beauty, then yeah, you made an ugly person hot. You know, I can
fucking
agree with
miracle
that.
worker.
Like Lady Gaga's tattoos make her hotter. Until you get here to the face.
See, and I
But-
actually kind of hate some of her tattoos. She has like a
The trumpet.
I hate that thing. I think it's dumb.
It's really well done, though.
It's very well done. It's
And
also a
that's the
trumpet.
thing.
Like, I mean, it could
Yeah.
be a really well done Arby's. It doesn't mean I like it. I just
True.
don't like it.
Very true.
Like, it could be an Arby's. Yeah, it could be an Arby's restaurant. I don't get it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I
that's-
agree. But, you know, you can...
It's appealing, right?
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Tattoos are appealing to the eye.
I agree.
They're aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry. All right.
There are certain about job prospects. Certain jobs don't allow tattoos, especially visible ones. Our previous employer. The decision to get it, I gotta stop taking shots at them. I really do.
I don't see
suck.
why you have to.
they
I think we
suck.
should keep.
The
I'll
deci-
probably
the
say their
decision-
name by the end of this.
The decision to get a tattoo entails that you're aware of the limitations you're going to have when looking for a job. When getting gauges in your ear was just becoming popular, I said, I'm gonna fucking do that. I'm going tomorrow. I made an appointment. I'm gonna go get that done. I'm literally I'm on campus with my dude. The dude I'm with stops me. He does this thing where you like the proud father puts your hand on
Yes.
on the shoulder, and he looks at me. He goes, Patrick, just out of curiosity, what are you going to school for? I'm like, oh, I'm a business degree. And do you think that you're going to get a job at a bank with giant holes in your earlobes? And I sat there for a minute. I was like, you know what? He's absolutely fucking right about that. So I didn't do it. Here I am today. Never did it.
Exactly.
Yep.
I have conversations with people all the time when they come in. I mean, you'll get 18, 19-year-old punk kids who come in and they're like, I want to get my hand tattooed. And I'm like, you don't have tattoos.
Right.
Why are you going to tattoo your... Do you have any... We call them job stoppers. That's what... When someone comes in to get their hand tattooed, when I put it on Instagram, I'm like, job stopper. That I did today. You know?
Job stopper.
It's
Just
fucking
tattooed
common
another-
sense.
I just tattooed another future musician.
Yep. This guy's going to be really good at something not related to
Right. He's either going to work in a
Business.
bar, do
the world's
tattoos.
greatest bartender.
Yeah.
There you go. This guy's going to succeed in life. And I never have that thought, actually. Most of the time, I won't do them. Like, in order for me to tattoo someone below the elbow, they have to understand what it is. You
Right.
have to be pretty damn covered from the elbow up for me to tattoo you below your elbow. And that's just a conscience thing, a morality thing for me.
And actually, if I was somebody who walked in, I would have zero problem with that. I'd been like, will that guy tattoo me then? Yes,
Yeah.
he will. Great. Yeah, have a seat.
Exactly.
If you personally don't want or feel like this is not a good idea, you actually told me a story. Do you want to tell it? Like, if you personally, as the artist, are like, I'm not going to fucking do that.
Yeah.
You had a dude who.
The Confederate Capricorn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Okay. This guy walks into the shop and he wants just this dumb fucking giant racist tattoo on him. And I have a black guy that works in the shop with me. The black guy actually wound up doing the tattoo.
No way.
Yeah.
Love that guy already, by the way.
Me too.
Love him to death.
So we did, he wanted these Chinese lettering for white power across the top of his back and this giant ram head with like Confederate flag coloring going, waving. And I'm like, dude, you just need to leave. And he's like, no, I'll do it. So we actually have no idea what his tattoo says. It doesn't say white power. I know that.
Also, I hope you give him I hope you gave him the fucking gay flag as opposed to if it's on his
We should
back.
have. I didn't even think about that.
If it's on his
That
back,
would've been great.
gay flag,
Yeah.
and it would be Chinese letters like
and
dig penis.
This guy got, I don't know what they wrote on the paper because we had someone else do it for us. And it was just like, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to regret this for the rest of your life. I will actually, personally, I will cover up like racist and gang related tattoos for people and not charge them because you're trying to better your life.
Agreed. I
And
I like that. I like the
something
rule.
like that is stopping you.
Yeah.
I've
You know, it's
actually
kind of
physically
funny,
removed
the other
people.
side of what we were just talking about. That's actually the story behind the tattoo you do want to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You do want to hear how you got to this point to do that.
I want to know
tattoo.
how the fuck you wound up with a 6-foot swastika across your back. Please
Yeah.
tell me.
Right.
What made you ever decide that was a good idea?
Yeah. And then why do you want to cover it? What an awesome story that would be.
What brought you out of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I enjoy.
That's awesome. It's just
Those
kind of funny
stories
that-
I will listen
yeah.
to all day. And this, I don't charge people to cover those up because of that. Mm-hmm. And
That's good to know. Next time I go in there, I'm like, I have a peach colored swastika on my arm. You can't see it, but I'd like you to come it up with
cover this up with some lettering.
Yeah.
I'd like Kelsey's name with an Arby's hat.
I'm damn close to getting Kelsey tattooed on the back of my knee, just to kind of bring everything together.
Should.
They
Don't see it. Who cares?
Number 9. Only 2 to go. That's it. Number 9. They can be mysterious. Fucking dumb. Everybody's mysterious
Anybody
to
can
me.
be mysterious.
I don't get people.
I'm
Like-
the most open person I know.
And look, you're completely covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
There's nothing mysterious about you.
No. It's a mystery why the fucking gray took over so soon, but, other than that,
Well,
How old are you?
35.
Oh fuck.
Exactly.
No. I was like, I'm 41. I mean, I usually even let it go. I am so much gray. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I look like a buffoon. Thank
That's
God
the only
I'm not a
mystery.
Video cast.
just, man.
No others.
Yeah,
Yeah, mystery. That's lame. Go to
It's
the next
dumb.
one.
yeah, that's ridiculous. This one is equally as ridiculous, but I have a feeling that this could be an interesting discussion. They know how to make themselves look good. Fashion becomes a little bit more complicated when tattoos come into the picture. Not only do you have to pick clothing and accessories that make you look good, you also need to think about the fashion that will complement the tattoos on your body. I don't think I've ever done that.
I don't
My wife does.
Okay, we'll get into this.
explain.
For visible, wait, I'm not even done yet.
Oh, sorry.
For visible tattoos, especially, matching color schemes and clothing style becomes extra important. I had a feeling that was going to.
Is that it?
Part of it.
Oh, okay.
Clothing style is huge in it. She has her entire back done, and low cut back shirts
Okay.
are a huge thing for her to be able to show it off, or shirts with lacy arms that actually show off her sleeves are a huge thing for her if she's wearing long sleeves. Most of the time she just wears a tank top so that it shows. For me, I throw on jeans and a t-shirt, and
Yeah,
I don't think much
call it
about
a
it.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you actually brought something up that I don't even know that I would have foolishly didn't consider. Like, unless tattoos are that super just personal to you and no one will ever know you have them, if you get a tattoo in a visible place, you want people to see it.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess I never really thought about it. I don't wear a lot of long sleeves. You know what I mean? Because, you know, like, you just might run into a person who's like, you know what? I like men with tattoos. Oh,
Yeah.
so lucky I happen to be here. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
right? And look,
It's
I'm a fucking wolf.
I also don't think you own a long sleeve shirt that's not a aged flannel.
Oh, that's probably
Like
true.
you don't ever show up to work in a fucking Dockers in a turtleneck.
No, that's true. He's right. He's right.
we should buy him that
We should.
just to see it happen once.
You can buy it. I'm not going to put it on. I'm just not going to do it. But, so I don't know if that necessarily is saying how to make yourself look good. You're doing it like hoping that people find you.
Yes.
I can see fashion around tattoos though. Like
There
I can
is-
see things that kind of accentuate what you have.
Yes,
Because as soon
there's-
as you mentioned the full back, I was like, okay, backless shit. Because that'd be cool, you know.
Yep.
But I can
Girls
see
who
that.
get like the sternum tattoo tend to wear lower cut front shirts to show the tattoo between the cleavage. They're not thinking about their body itself. They're thinking about showing that
Yeah.
tattoo.
And that's kind of what we were talking about like tattoos that work. Because you see that on some girl, and this is just me. You see that on some girls, and you're like, it works. Other times, like, I don't know. It's almost like an accessory or an outfit. Sometimes it just works. I see a certain tattoo. Like I've never been a fan of like. Sometimes I don't like the tattoos here. On like a girl, like on the thigh right here, I'm like, I don't know. Other times I see it on some other people, I'm like, fucking works, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's weird.
And I honestly used to hate leg tattoos on women until I started tattooing my wife's legs. But my wife's legs are just my art. They're things that she threw ideas at me and I put it together, and all of a sudden it's like, holy shit,
awesome,
your
right?
leg tattoos
Yeah.
are really hot. You know, but
Like
I've
been telling my wife she should get half sleeve.
exactly.
I think she should go to all tattoos.
Love sleeves.
I agree.
Sleeves on women.
Yeah.
It's
Let's put her on the
fucking
spot, Chris. Why won't
great.
you do that?
It's a great fucking look.
It really is.
Oh man.
I
For
love
some
my
reason,
wife's
it's like a half. I don't know why. A full or half.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome, but
Yeah.
no.
And women more so than men accessorize around them compared to
All right. Well,
Women
I-
also
Showing
have
them
the
off.
ability, I think,
Makes
to make a
sense.
lot of things look a lot cooler than men do.
Now I do wear a lot of tank tops even though I shouldn't.
There's nothing wrong. You're in luck, Josh. Actually, what I have coming up here is the summer of tank tops and cut-off T-shirts,
See?
which
There
I've
we
been
go.
kind of heading up. So you should definitely come around more, and we can wear tank tops and cut-off
Just like
cut-off T-shirts.
go to the breweries and tank
So
tops and cut
many
off
good
t-shirts.
let's just go
So many good
shirtless.
ones.
Let's just dad bod everywhere.
Let's really just.
I'm like
that.
Dad got fat bod though. You know,
It's still dad bod.
it is. It is
Apparently
still dad
that's a
bod.
thing now.
It is. Women love it.
Leonardo
Ask my
DiCaprio's
wife.
killing.
Okay, Leonardo
Like-
DiCaprio has $700 million in the
All
bank.
I know is
Doesn't
that-
matter what body he has.
I saw your wife showed me an article. People are loving Leo's dad bod.
People also really love his bank account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone showed you an article of that dude down the street that works at BP with the same dad bod?
No.
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Women love it.
What is?
crazy.
Yeah. Look, it's like that Seinfeld episode where they're talking about the pigmen. You get
the pigmen in the hospital.
And George is like, I don't know. You get some of these pigmen running around, suddenly I look a lot better. That's a great way to
Yeah.
make
That is a
lemonade
good way
out
to
of
look at
lemons.
it, yeah.
What is?
What the fuck are you doing?
I didn't understand that.
She just loves that new phone.
What's the worst? First off, let's start with the simple ones. Spelling error tattoos fucking make me laugh. They're the best to see on the internet.
Oh, I have to admit to this, huh?
Yeah.
I have done one myself when I first started out. Well, not quite first started out. I was a good ways in. But I did misspell strawberries on someone. But I have seen some really bad ones.
Hold on. Spell strawberries for me.
All right. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made in a Bless you. Bless you.
Can you keep it down?
Biggest mistake you've ever made in a tattoo where you were like, fuck.
Can't tell you that because then they would know.
Oh, okay. Is the chance they're actually going to be...
I told him it was Nosferatu. It was actually Paul Walker from Fast and Furious.
Okay, not
Rest in
including me.
peace. Rest in peace, Paul Walker.
No, it wasn't you. God, there's been so many. Honestly, we
I love it. Oh my god, I've just fucked so much up.
there's no tattoo artist on the face of the planet that can look at you and say every tattoo they've ever done has been. They can't tell you one fucking tattoo they've done is perfect.
Right.
I mean, and to put that in context,
We're human.
in a day, how
Yeah.
many do you
Yeah.
do?
3 to 5.
So 3 to 5 over 12 years every single day.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's
In the first 5 years of doing this, I worked 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Christmas
shit.
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
To put that in context, doctors have the same ratio of fuck ups.
Right.
Yeah, they really do. I mean, probably more.
Yeah.
But there's so many. I mean, the worst fuck up I've ever had that wasn't my fault. Mm-hmm. This guy wanted a Japanese katana tattooed down his back,
As we all do.
Of course. It was actually the one from Kill Bill with a little devil head in it,
yeah.
And he wanted like the copperhead on one side and then the black mamba on the other side. So I got the snakes done.
Tarantino fan.
Must really love that movie. You know,
I'm
that's
like,
the only
this
one.
is
Right?
this is the rest of your life.
Right.
No, I get it. This movie's timeless.
And I get the snakes done. Everything's great. I go to start pulling the long line down the back of the sword. It's just this one long straight line. And the dude stands up.
Whoa.
The line runs from center shoulder blade to right hip.
Oh no.
And we're not talking a thin liner. We're talking
Like a jagged.
an 18 round, giant, thick line.
Oh no.
Huge. I was using a round shader to line with because I knew the lines needed to be bold.
So it's thick.
Oh, yeah. Straight across the snake,
Oh no.
right down to his hip. And he was like, what are we going to do? What'd you do? And I'm like, what did I do? The fuck do you mean, what did I didn't stand up.
Why are you doing jumping jacks in the middle of this, you asshole?
Like, it's not my fault you're an asshole.
So what?
That was the worst one, and it wasn't even my fault.
Right, but was he seriously mad?
Oh, yeah, he was pissed.
Well, he stood
Like
up.
trying to fight me, angry.
But he stood up. Like,
Yeah.
How did he not understand that? Do you think he was some kind of fucking precog?
I have
And
no
didn't
idea.
know he was about to stand up, so you lifted the...
I have no idea
That's fucking weird.
what went through his mind in that few seconds. I don't know if he passed out from the way he was sitting because I couldn't see his face.
Oh,
And maybe he woke up and stood up. I don't know if... Because, I mean, I've had people... We'll go into that later. A lot of people pass out. But It's
Really?
oh yeah. I've had a guy pass out putting his stencil on. To put this into context,
You have to explain what the stencil is first. I'm sorry. To understand why that's so goddamn funny, you have to explain what the stencil is.
okay, the stencil is painless. It's a little piece of paper that has your design burnt into it with blue ink. You lay that on the skin, peel it off, and then you start the tattoo after that dries.
It's basically the pussy that passes out when the doctor puts the cotton swab on his arm before the shot.
I'm that guy.
Passes out at the stencil.
No, not me. Not the stencil. The cotton swab.
Oh, yeah. Way manlier.
I don't like needles. See, here we go. I'm being completely honest with you. Again, there's no mystery.
Captain that hates the water.
There's no mystery to me.
Oh, God.
But
That's so funny.
to put it into context, the guy that passes out when I'm putting the stencil on is 6'8", 312-pound bodybuilder. His name is Kevin.
It's pronounced Kelsey.
He's pronounced Kelsey.
I think we've established that.
This giant of a man. No tattoos.
Wow.
And I'm putting his last name across his back.
Okay.
Right?
hoping
No ego.
That popular early 2000s,
Okay.
like, in case you die, they can identify you. At least your last name they'll know.
Yeah, right. It's a good start, by the way.
And this guy, I mean, as soon I rub the stuff on, you know, the stencil application stuff, and I lay the stencil on, and I got the center of it pressed in, and he just falls on me.
No way.
312 pounds of giant. I'm a big guy. I'm not that fucking big of a guy.
Right.
So I have this giant, like, trying to hold him up. My knees are collapsing. I'm crushing. And he wakes up and just starts screaming. Ah! 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 And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you,
What's
man?
happening right now?
I don't know what's going on.
Right.
No clue. I'm like, oh my God, how do I handle this? I was 4 years in.
Okay.
And that was the first time anything like that had happened to me.
That's great.
4 years, I'd had a couple of people throw up from piercings and stuff, but I'd never had someone physically just hit the damn floor. Or me.
Right.
You know, and this guy's screaming, and I'm trying to get other people to get over there and get him off of me. And it's not working. All the other guys in the shop are just standing there doing exactly what you guys are doing, laughing their asses off at me. And yeah, it was a bad day.
So did he get the tattoo?
He did.
No fucking way.
Yeah, passed out 7 times.
Oh, my God.
In Florida, there's no law that you have to stop.
No way.
Fucking Florida. Another reason to not go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Florida sucks.
It's the worst.
The
only good thing in Florida is the Gators.
Tables and he passed out 7 total times.
7 total times.
What is your least favorite kind of experience when you're tattooing somebody? I feel like I know the answer to this, by the way, and I definitely
The
have an
hard
answer.
dick we talked about an hour ago.
That's probably the least favorite of all.
Yeah.
Actually, there's one that beats that. I've had someone shit on my table.
What?
Okay, whoa. What?
Yep. This lady was like, I'm tattooing her stomach.
For some reason, it's funnier that it's a lady. I don't know why. It always is.
I'm tattooing her stomach, and she's like, oh, hold on a minute. I think I might have to go to the bathroom. I'm like, okay. She gets up, she goes, does her thing, comes back. She's like, never mind, we're good. We can keep going.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay.
Oh, no.
I start tattooing, and she passes gas, I thought. Just this really loud rip. And I'm like, okay, God, the smells. What the fuck? And I look down, and there's shit leaking off of my table, hitting my
Oh, no.
shoes. Human feces. Off of the table, onto my shoes. My wife is behind me like, ah! And I start gagging. I'm like, get the fuck out.
And just not to make this worse, but I'm fucking gonna. I assume she was not wearing a thong. She was wearing pants, right?
Shorts.
So she somehow shit
Tight
so
shorts.
much that it
Tight
came
shorts.
out of the shorts to... Oh, you bitch. God
up
damn
her
you.
back,
Damn
all the
you.
way up my
no.
chair.
God
no,
damn you,
It was like
Kelsey.
changing a diaper on a fucking 8-month-old.
I would have thrown that chair out, man.
Yeah.
You probably had to shut the fucking place down.
Yeah, I did. I did. The cleanup was horrible, and,
Did you-
and she was like, "Oh, I'm so
I
sorry."
would have made her clean
She
that up.
did.
Oh, fuck yeah, you did.
She
God
was
bless
like,
you.
"I'm so sorry," and I'm like, "You're about to be here. Mop, clean. I'm not touching that. Tell your husband to get the chair and throw the shit away. I'll buy a new one tomorrow."
Wait,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
this actually happened?
And she's like, "Are you going to finish
Wait,
my
what-
tattoo?"
what
And I'm
were
like,
you
"Not
ta-
today.
what-
Have you
wait,
smelled the shop?
Wait, what were you tattooing on her?
Cherries."
I mean, I'm sorry. Where? Fuck, that made it better. Where on her?
Right at the, like, just above the
Oh,
pant
right
line.
at the. Okay, right at the
Like,
brown
right at the
note.
stomach,
Okay.
hip.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with this woman?
I have no idea.
I assume she had a very rough
No,
meal.
she was not even embarrassed. She was like, "This is a regular thing."
Oh my god.
Maybe it was for her.
I was.
I'm like, "This is the
Hitler
first
had
My
thing."
favorite part about this was like he told us like, "What do you tell?" He's like, "Cherries."
Cherries.
Obviously, cherries.
Obviously, her name was Kelsey. No,
Shout out, Kelsey.
Had to be an older woman. Had to be.
late 20s.
Oh
Shit, that is not as older as we thought.
No,
I was thinking late 120s.
yeah, she was pretty young.
Oh man, I hope she's single.
No kids.
I don't
really
think
do.
I don't think that's an issue. You're gonna run into her on Tinder.
No. I don't mean for me. I just mean that.
Hey, message received, buddy. We'll find her.
We'll find her for you.
Okay. What? I'm gonna ask you a question.
That was my
Feel-
least favorite experience.
Yeah, that's bad.
That makes sense.
What? You feel for you. You don't have to answer this.
Okay.
Have you ever tattooed anybody and it was just a gross like the whole time? And like I realize.
I mean, you. God, what's the proper terminology? Scum punks.
This is new to me. You're educating me.
You know, like the hipster kids who don't bathe.
Oh, gotcha.
See, I would have gone with
So-
gigantic fat people with flaps and shit.
Most of the time, they take better care of themselves than
Really?
skinny people do. Believe it or not.
Fucking hipsters. I hate you
Surprised. Fucking hipsters have ruined the world. But, you know, you get these scum punk kids in there, and that's literally what they're called. They get the dumbest fucking tattoos. Their skin's oily and greasy. They smell
guys. Dumb example.
like a
tattoo.
Russian prison. Like they just got off the set of Eastern Promises.
I don't think you
And-
know that movie because a lot of people
You
don't.
already brought
it's
it
a good
up
movie.
today.
Yeah, and you brought it up once.
But he's seen it though. A
Yes.
lot of people
Oh.
haven't seen that movie. That's a
That's a
very
great movie.
underrated.
I thought-
it's
and
an
it's on
underrated-
Hulu right now if you want to rewatch it.
I do.
I thought
It's an
you were-
underrated Viggo Mortensen movie.
Yeah.
I thought you were having this moment where you're like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "No, dude, 40 minutes ago that came up."
Yeah, no, he brought
No,
it
no,
up
no, no.
already.
I just love that he's
Okay.
actually seeing it. It's one of those underrated movies a
I
lot of
was
people
worried
haven't
about
seen. It's
you.
really good though.
Yeah, like those dudes don't bathe. Ever.
Oh,
They don't fuck about either.
No.
Anyone that's like, oh, the mafia in America, it's crazy. Fuck you. Go to Russia.
Yeah.
Those guys are out
I
of
think
their
he's talking
mind.
about wait, who doesn't bathe?
Like scum punks or Russians.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
I think, you know, no, the people in the Eastern
Which is
Promises
actually our
movie.
demographic.
Like the
It's
Russian.
where we
Yeah,
target scumpunks and Russians.
Exactly. We're
I haven't heard scumpunks though. I
neither.
like that.
yeah. That's what they've dubbed themselves, I
Okay.
guess. And they're just disgusting human beings who get the worst play. These are guys that like to get their ass crack tattooed
Ugh,
that haven't bathed in a month.
ugh.
And you don't know that until you're sitting in the room with them putting a stencil on.
Right.
For the sake of the podcast, I feel like one of us should do that.
Nah, I'm not. Don't point to me.
I agree. It should be Patrick.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Get a hashtag inside your butt.
What is the? Have you? I know you've.
You know, because you're super into Twitter.
No, I'm not.
I know, that's why it's funny.
You're the closest thing to a hipster we have.
Yeah, I know you've said that you've tattooed celebrities, athletes.
Yes.
Who's like the coolest? You're like, dude, that was effing awesome. And what was the worst?
The coolest ever was Styles White. A lot of people probably don't know him. Defensive lineman, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
Phenomenal football
Oh,
player.
wait, no, I actually do.
I would assume
Just because of the name, it's
Yeah.
a.
it's
I actually do know who that
defensive
is.
end.
Yeah.
Phenomenal player. He was like Jadeveon Clowney before Jadeveon Clowney graduated. Coolest dude ever. We go out to eat after. Like, takes me to this little sushi place down in Ybor City, Florida. And the dude eats $600 worth of sushi.
Whoa.
He's a monster, though.
$12 a roll.
He's a
Think
monster,
about how many
though.
rolls that is. Oh,
That
he
guy's
is.
a monster.
He's like 365,
Yeah, he's a
freaking
monster.
6'5".
Man.
He's a big dude. And that was by far the coolest. Just the whole experience. Him being extremely humble. I mean, he had been in the NFL for a couple of years already. Tattooing Derek Brooks was really cool.
Oh, right on. Another Buccaneer.
Another Buccaneer. It was a lot of the Bucks, the Rays. The biggest prick, Evan Longoria, by far.
Okay.
Third baseman, Devil Rays.
I went right to the girl from Desperate Housewives. Sorry.
Eva. No, Evan.
Yeah.
Evan, not
tomato.
you know. Biggest prick ever.
Really?
Just a douchebag the whole time. Like, you should know who I am. I had no idea who he was when he walked in. And then
Be better
the
at
biggest
baseball.
douchebag I never tattooed was here in Cleveland. Your guys,
Johnny Manziel.
Browns quarterback turned wide receiver, Terrell Pryor.
Oh, Terrell Pryor, yeah.
Yeah.
Guy walks into the shop.
Here in Strongsville?
They're in Strongsville.
Okay.
And walks over to me. He's like, I want to get a tattoo. I have a lobby full of people, like 60 people. I have no idea who this jackass is. And I'm like, okay, you're looking at about a 2.5, 3 hour wait. I was like, we've got all these people in front of you. You know who the fuck I am? No.
Nope.
I'm Terrell fucking Pryor. I said, so you're a failed NFL quarterback. Is exactly what I said. He turned around and walked out. By far the biggest douchebag. No comeback, no nothing, just walks out. I'm like, you deserved it.
I would imagine that most celebrities or athletes, particularly athletes, would be super cool.
Most of them
I would
are.
think, yeah.
But you have that rare few who are very big-headed.
Yeah.
I'm better than anybody
Probably
else.
never paid for a tattoo because some booster paid for it
Just
by...
wants to put them on there so
Yeah,
they can say
exactly.
they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just to have their name on someone.
Yeah.
Agreed. And I honestly, I understand that.
You know,
do.
LeBron's tattoo artist doesn't charge LeBron James.
Yeah.
But
Like, you know what, we would
he
actually-
charges kids that walk in $600 for a tattoo the size of your tribal on your
Because-
Get the fuck... $600 bucks for that.
But it's because LeBron James goes to
wrist.
them.
LeBron James and Kyrie Irving both go to him.
Yes.
So
It's like we probably wouldn't charge LeBron James to be on the podcast.
Probably.
yeah,
We would charge his
Josh.
girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You know, I've charged everyone I've ever tattooed except my wife.
Really?
She pays in other ways.
Just by being your wife.
Just by
No,
being
no,
my
go,
wife,
go into more detail.
loving me, being kind and sweet.
So I was in Target the other day, and I'm walking down the aisle, and there's this group of people standing off to the left, literally where I'm going. I'm going to look at getting some books for my kids. They're standing there on the end, and they're holding this phone out, having this FaceTime conversation, and I see his face.
No way.
Yeah.
So you had your mustache curled up that
did.
day too, motherfucker. That was.
I was gonna
that
do
was
it.
stout.
I was gonna do it today, but I was like, no.
That was stout. So I was literally, I didn't know who any of these people were. I was going to go, Josh!
You should have.
Just
You so should have.
Just over her shoulder. And then, so I walked to where the books were. I'm looking at them. They finished up the phone call, and I look over. I'm like, was that just Josh on there? And it's like, yeah. And I was like, I think this is his wife.
Yeah.
But I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, sorry, I interrupted. And I just walked away. I was that creep who was just like, who were you just talking to? Did you ever ask anybody that? No, I did.
He did.
That's awesome.
My wife's like, I think I met Patrick today. And I'm like, what? She was like,
Or I
at
should call the
Target.
police.
And I'm like, let me text this fucker. Patrick, did you meet my wife today?
I was like, yes,
If he would have said no, I would have been like, babe, no, you need to call the police.
Yeah, I went all creeper. I don't know. Weird. Have you, what other kind of fucked up things have you seen, experienced?
Oh, God, there's so many. Get specific.
So,
if there's something in your mind.
for me that I
like-
kind of wanted to add for everybody, what's the worst tattoo you've ever seen? I'm not even necessarily talking about the worst done tattoo. What's the worst tattoo you've ever seen where you're like, really? That's what you went with?
A portrait of Trump.
No.
Why would you do that, Josh?
I didn't do it. No, I don't do portraits. But that was, I'm just like, really?
Oh.
You couldn't think of
Oh, that's absurd.
anything better to get on? Now, in South Georgia, there's a lot of really bad tattoos. Like
A lot of
just
stars and bars.
Bad idea tattoos.
Okay. Even worse.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a guy in my hometown that has the founding members of the KKK across his shoulders.
No, that makes sense.
All portraits, you know? I'm like, there's 871 people in this town. You're the one that stands out to everybody.
Well, he's also not planning on leaving that town.
I'm like, you also understand that we're 90% African American in this town.
Oh, you should
right?
leave that town.
You should leave.
Poor farming community.
Yes, poor farming community. 45,000 total population in the county. It's the largest county.
God.
I feel
In
like
Georgia.
every small county in Georgia can be qualified that exact same way. It's
Yes.
a farming community, or it's right outside of a farming community.
Yes.
And it's typically like struggling communities financially.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You drop below Macon
Yeah.
in Georgia, and everything from there down when you get to Cordell, Albany, Tifton, Norman Park, my hometown, Moultrie, places like that. It's extremely poor farming communities that have struggled for a lot of years, but it's cool as shit to see the dumbass tattoos that people get.
And I only know Macon County from the movie Diggstown. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that. It's fucking
not.
awesome.
I have not.
Well, grow up. So the only reason I brought up like the worst thing, because for years, this has been the worst one I ever saw.
Okay.
Have you guys seen the movie Gladiator?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So the thing that Russell Crowe would always tell the other Romans is strength and honor right before they go into battle.
Mm-hmm.
I was in West Virginia, shocker, and we were at like a whitewater rafting trip, and there was this guy there that had fucking asshole. He clearly was a high school football player, and he had strength and honor tattooed on his shoulder, and it was fucking big. It was really, really, really
Just
big.
strength and honor.
Strength and honor is what he had tattooed, and it was right after Gladiator came out.
So he got a gladiator.
So this guy
tattoo.
really, really, really liked the movie Gladiator. Wow! Because guess what? Most people haven't seen that in 2019, and that asshole is probably walking around, I assume, Sherwin-Williams. Or,
Starbucks.
Yeah, Starbucks, as an assistant manager, trying to explain that pile of shit tattoo to everyone's like, I don't understand. Are you super strong or are you really honorable? And he's like, have you ever seen Gladiator? And they're like, no. And he goes, forget it.
Yeah.
But that's the tattoo that always stands out to me as far as to me, it's almost funnier. It's better to get a tattoo that's spelled incorrectly as opposed to a tattoo where a very brief slogan in a movie from 1998. I mean,
Well, you're really mad.
I might as well have gotten "How You Like Them Apples" from Goodwill Hunting tattooed on my back. I mean, it's the equivalent to that, though. Like, it means nothing. It means nothing.
Or that's the rest of the story. Walter Cronkite.
Basically.
Wait, you have that tattooed on you?
Strength and honor?
No, the how about them apples?
No.
Oh, I have strength and honor
okay.
tattooed on my penis. Josh
Okay.
did it.
I did, which was the
Right side of
second
the
worst
shaft,
situation.
Strength. Left side of the shaft, honor.
And the other, just because of that, it's such an absurd, because it was
It's
clearly,
abbreviated.
It was right. It It just says SH.
Yeah.
And I fill in the blanks.
Yeah, exactly.
But that one to me, just because it happened right after the movie, where I was like, really? That's what you did?
Yeah.
Do you really think? Fuck you, man. But that was the worst one. For me.
You know, I mean, honestly, the worst tattoo I've ever seen was probably the Confederate Capricorn on someone.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of things in my 12 years that make me just lose faith in humanity. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, it has meaning. They got a story.
I have a question.
Oh, we have a question from the audience.
Oh, sorry. I want to know about face tattoos. Have you done a lot of those?
Generally, I won't do them. I have done a few in my career. For the most part, unless you're a SoundCloud rapper, you're probably not going to have one anyway. But
So I need
I've
to get
done
on
teardrops. I've done crosses. I have done that stupid ass Lil Wayne Fear God tattoo on eyelids. I don't know how many times.
Really?
Yeah, just Fear God.
Gosh.
I have to say
And-
that I'm impressed, and I mean not surprised, but impressed that you will actually do, because that's your job. People are paying you to do these things.
Yeah.
And you're discouraging people from doing stupid shit.
Oh yeah, I'd much rather have someone have a great tattoo for the rest of their life than take their money and feel bad about it.
I feel like that also plays into what you said earlier about 90% bad, 10% good, because I think the bad ones fall into the ones that'll just do whatever as long as they get
Yes.
paid.
I'm
impressed by that.
A lot of those guys will just take your money and run. They'll do tiny tattoos without warning you of anything happening. They'll tattoo your face. I actually had a kid come in not that long ago that wanted to get his face tattooed. He had henna, the temporary henna done on his face, and he loved the way it looked. So he shows me this design, and it's like all the way around his eyes.
Oh,
and I'm
boy.
like, first off, you're a dude. Second off, you're
Yeah.
white. Like
Also,
you're not, it has no religious meaning to you whatsoever. You're not of any religion that this actually counts for you.
Also, I'll do this for half the price if you tell me what henna actually means.
Yeah.
Because I bet he couldn't do that.
Yeah. And he comes in and he wants this tattooed. And I'm like, dude, this is your entire face. This isn't like we're talking about, oh, you're getting a freckle, or you're getting a teardrop under your eye, or you're getting a cross next to your ear, like in the sideburn area. This is your whole face. And the dude's like, I just want to do it. I'll pay anything. And I'm like, anything. He was like, yeah, I'm like $1,000. He was like, okay. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
Good for you.
But props to you for doing that, though, man. I mean, that's when you said that earlier, all the things we've kind of talked about have kind of tied in together, where I'm like, yeah, the 90% are bad, and I think it's not necessarily just because they're bad at giving tattoos. They're bad at shit like that,
Yeah.
which, again, falls into being a bad tattoo
It does.
artist.
I put those people in that.
Yeah.
You know, when I give you that 9% really good and that 1% that are phenomenal, that phenomenal percentage aren't going to ever jeopardize their reputation. That
Right.
9% of really good would take a lot of money to make them jeopardize themselves. For me, it's morality is what it comes down to. I have a good set of morals and just refuse.
Also, these people that want, like, you know, a face tattoo, like, around their eyes, are they, like, pretty clearly, like, mentally ill or on drugs? Like, do you feel like you're, like, taking advantage of a person? Like,
There's definitely something off about them, but you can't really know for sure because, I mean, it's yeah.
That's a really good question. I
It
guess
is.
kind of where's the line before you're just like, you know what, you don't know what you're doing, to this is just clearly what they want. They're gonna go somewhere else. Should I just do it? And maybe that's a case by case. You know what I'm saying?
For me, it is a lot of times. I mean, if you come in and you're tattooed from your chin strap down, I'm probably going to tattoo your face.
Yeah, but they've already committed.
You're committed.
Not
you
your first
know
ride.
the
Yeah.
way people look at you. You understand what being heavily tattooed means.
Yes.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to charge outrageous prices to this person because they understand what a tattoo should cost. They understand that what they're getting into is permanent. That line for me is anyone who doesn't have a visible tattoo, anyone who is not out of options.
Right.
If you have
Face
nowhere
tattoo
else,
is not your first tattoo.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
If you have nowhere else on your body to put ink, I'll tattoo your face. If you don't, or if you do have room, I mean, if you've got a fucking centimeter on your pinky, get that done first. Let's put whatever you want on your face right there, because it changes anyone, even us being tattooed. We see someone with a face tattoo and we're like, oh, there's something wrong with that dude. And it's like, oh shit,
Right.
what happened?
Yeah. Like,
You
oh,
know.
you gave up early.
Yeah, you gave up really early. Your dad hugged you too much. We understand. And so it's just a personal preference kind of thing. And that 90% that's going to take that dude's money and tattoo his face shouldn't fucking be tattooing.
No, I like that. I
I don't care how good they are. I don't care if they're the greatest artist on the face of the planet. You're a shitty human being.
Right. I think I think this has been a ton of fun, a lot of laughs. I want to do a separate podcast on body modifications
Okay.
or even some piercings and things like that, because when I've been in there and heard some of the things that people want to do to their face, I'm not judging. I'm shocked that people thought to pierce things that people are getting pierced.
I'll show you guys a video here when we're done.
All right. But this has been a lot of fun. I want you to plug the studio, everything. But I mean this. The reason we actually wanted to do this with you is because you're a good dude. And
Thank you.
If you were some high flying jackass, we wouldn't have asked you to come here and have this chat with us. If you're gonna get a tattoo, if you've never had one,
All tattoos.
Yeah, I mean, Josh is the person. You're on our website.
I think we have about 2 hours worthy of why, if it's your
sure.
first tattoo or your 10th tattoo, that you should go see Josh at All Tattoos. He's going to steer you right. He's going to do a good job. And
Never done me wrong
It's
on
100% the place to go. There are 3 people in this room that are not Josh that have all gone to him for the reason because, and I think this is why a lot of people do anything. But I made the joke about, like, if I was going to get my roof done, I would ask someone where to go. I don't think that's any different than tattoos. In fact, I think it's actually more important.
for sure.
Agreed.
Myself, Patrick, and my wife have all gone to Josh from the recommendation of people in this room. And we've always been incredibly satisfied with that. In fact, I know Patrick just got another one done. Josh and I have been talking the last couple of weeks about I got to get back in there. I want to add on to what I already have here and then do a couple new ones too. My wife wants to get my face tattooed on her back.
And a half sleeve.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, the
half sleeve. But we brought Josh on for a couple reasons, and I think it's important that everybody understands this. One, he's just a cool dude that we get along with, and he fits in with the way that our podcast rolls, which is we want to talk about people in the community that have businesses that I think are kind of epitomize Cleveland and the stuff that we like. We also obviously just like Josh because he's a good dude. And 2, he can do the things that we just did for 2 hours, which is talk about the stuff that we want to talk about and go off on tangents and just have a good time. That's the whole point of this podcast. Patrick and I are not, and I'm sure people pointed this out outside of us, we're not professional podcasters. We do what we want. We just have fun. And Josh just gave us a 2-hour lesson as to why we do this. So I really encourage everyone to go to All Tattoos for any tattoos you want. By all means, please listen to the Guiltless podcast. Go to the Guiltless Network. Check everything that's coming out. And just if you have any questions, let us know. Reach out to us. And definitely reach out to Josh. We'll be posting a lot about where he's located, the stuff that he's done, and the stuff that's coming up. So we appreciate you guys listening.
Yeah, you know what you do need to do? We talked about this.
Yes.
People need to find you on Instagram. You need to put more of your stuff out there. I
do.
saw you have, by the way, over the
I
last
have
week
been
or
putting
so,
a lot
yeah.
more stuff up lately. I've been trying to. I have
So, yeah.
months and months of backlogged photos that I never think to put up because I'm lazy when it comes to social media and self-promotion.
Yeah, we are too.
But I have been trying to get better about it since you mentioned it.
Yeah. Well, keep it up. It's great work.
well,
People
we'll-
should see it.
Yeah, we'll let you know when this goes post because we'd like you to obviously post about so people can see when you're on here too. If you could definitely go on to iTunes and rate and review because this Brad thing really pissed Patrick off.
Brad's an asshole.
Yeah,
Brad.
so if we could get maybe a tattoo review from you on us, that'd be
Absolutely.
awesome. But we're definitely going to throw you out there. We're already on our website as far as like friends of the show,
And I appreciate
So
that,
anyone that
guys.
goes to our the Guiltless Network or our Instagram is going to know that you're the one that we recommend, and I think anyone that listens to this is going to know very clearly that you're the person they should go to for a full back tattoo or a dolphin on their ankle. So we really appreciate you coming.
We'll take
on.
care of everything from Kelsey to Patrick and Joe.
All right.
Yeah,
Right on.
thanks, brother.